You want to know what is happening more of your to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kebab, congratulate my brother to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? This one you got today.
Spoon TV.
This one you got today.
Spoon TV. Spoon Spoon entertainment.
Go to
On the spoon to get
Yes,
your
I
information. On the spoon to be Spoon television.
Yes, I
Spoon radio station. Spoon television.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. On the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Morovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening more of your to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kebab, congratulate my brother to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? This one you got today.
Spoon TV.
This one you got today.
Spoon TV. Spoon entertainment. Yes, I information. Spoon television. Yes, I Spoon radio station. Spoon television.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEO, standing with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Morovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. The children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba. What I want? This one you got today.
Spoon TV.
This one you got today.
Spoon TV. Spoon Spoon entertainment. Yes, I information. To the spoon to be part of spoon television.
Yes, I
Spoon radio station. Spoon television.
Okay, well, folks, welcome to another edition of the program, Spoon Talk on Spoon FM 107.5, Fabric 101.1 FM, 99, that's 95.5 Super, and also we are live on Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and Super TV as well. And on YouTube, we'd like to say welcome to all of you, My name is Aaron Kuban. I'm your sound producer and coordinator of this edition of the program. And let me see if I can just bring Dr. Richardson on. And also say good evening and welcome, Dr. Richardson.
Hello, Aaron. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. And
Uh-huh.
for long, I haven't heard from this statement from my man Jim. So I mean, just say, God money me. So, Jim
God
always
is
just say, God
mighty.
money him. Yeah.
God is mighty, every one of us, including all of the viewers, the listeners, the people who comment under our commentator section. God is mighty, all Liberians today. Oh, so we'll take that word from James Good Day. We'll borrow his saying today for everyone. So
Yeah.
that's good news. Good news. And any trending issues going on in the country that we should be aware of? I'm sorry, I'm actually looking for my earpiece charger. Just give me 1 second, but I think you can begin by telling us some of the trending issues that's happening in the country right now. As I would like to welcome everyone to the show. Once again, it's going to be a spirited, interactive show that will impart information to Liberians because we strive to do that on the show. So thank you for joining us, and we're going to just get some trending news issues from Era, Mr. Kuban, and then we'll move
Yes.
on to the issues. Go ahead, Era.
Yes, so Dr. Richardson, lots of things that are trending always, but like we
Mhm,
always say, those very important ones, and also ones that are being
mhm,
talked about by almost every one of the media institutions reporting them.
mhm,
And so we will begin from the Supreme Court of Liberia. Many people and those following us by radio and online are aware that sometimes um, the U.S. government in August of 2022 sanctioned three government officials to name Bill Twawe, Nathaniel McGill, and Sima Serena Sifos.
mhm,
And then following I call it their sanctions against them, they
mhm,
were suspended by the president, and then they subsequently resigned. And since
mhm,
then, a lot of people have been calling for their prosecution,
mhm,
but this government has not shown any, sign of or any will on their part to prosecute those individuals, uh, so as to either exonerate them or find them guilty if those allegations against them are true. A group under the banner the Public Interest Law Group.
mhm,
It is a group of lawyers that have
mm,
come together and they filed a writ of mandamus to the Supreme
mhm,
Court,
mhm,
and they are calling on the government or the Supreme Court to compel the government to prosecute those three officials
mhm,
for those allegations levied by the 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 U.S. government. And so
mhm,
they are calling on the government of Liberia and through the Supreme Court to compel central government, the police, the Ministry of Justice, and all the institutions on the Ministry of Justice to be responding to that writ. And they are calling on them to make sure that they prosecute those individuals. And if they are found guilty, they can serve sentence or they can be punished or maybe exonerated. Who knows? Maybe those allegations against them are not true, but they need to be investigated. And so a writ of mandamus has been filed legally. And what I've done so far, my research, I've noticed that a writ of mandamus is a writ that compels a legal institution like the government,
mhm.
to carry on a legal requirement. And
Yeah.
we know that the government is an institution that is there to prosecute people based on those allegations that were
Uh-huh.
levied against those
Uh-huh.
individuals. And so those lawyers, and one notable name among them is Aloysius Stowe.
Uh-huh.
Aloysius Stowe, who is the Secretary General of the collaborating political party, but he's a lawyer too as well. And they come under this banner, the Public Interest Law Group. They are the ones calling for the prosecution of those individuals, and so they are calling on them to ensure that the government prosecute them. That's one of the news
Mhm.
here has been reported by Front Page Africa. Would like to see what the government will do surrounding that. And the next,
And I think we will talk about that. I would like to hear the views of the panelists regarding this new movement into this case, because this case remained dormant for a while after the United States enacted the Magnitsky sanction against these three government officials. So that's a new kind of movement in this matter. And so I would like to get the views of the panelists. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. What does it mean for our country to have this new group, the Public Interest Law Group? I think they go by PALA, if I remember correctly. If they to now put in this writ to have them go through the justice system. So I want to see what other thinks about it. And also Liberians, you can comment on what you think about this as well. And it's good that Councillor Lami Pakwe is coming in. He's the legal person on the show. Maybe he can tell us more too. But yes, thank you, Aaron. The next thing that you have there for me?
the next one is that you can recall this program has been talking about the $65 million loan agreement that the government of Liberia has, or wants to get from the International Development Association. And the House of Representatives quite recently signed on or voted to approve that law. I mean that loan agreement. They voted for that, and then it was sent over to the House of Senate. And the House of Senate deliberated on it. There were some issues raised. As a matter of fact, last Tuesday I was in the Senate, and there were issues raised by some of the senators, including the purpose of the loan, and also they were also talking about which institution is bringing out this loan, and then they later on found out that it was the International Development Association that is on the World Bank, but the purpose of the loan was not spelled out. So most of the senators there were concerned about the purpose, and so they had to send that report back to the committee. And then on today, the report came back on the floor, but the protest said he sees the motion during the past session, and then he brought it back on the floor, and then they voted. They voted. About 24 senators were in session. Out of the 24 senators, 8 voted against Liberia acquiring that loan, $65 million, and the other senators, including 16 others, voted in favor. So that means they voted to ratify the loan in the tune of $65 million. But the question here is, what's the purpose of that loan, which is not spelled out? No detail has been given, and that's the reason why about 8 of the senators even voted against it, including Senator Darius, Yombi Kanga Lawrence, and the likes of others. I'm told this is going to be one of the talking points. So let me just leave it there, and they see who come.
Absolutely. We are going to speak about this because I think this is an important issue. Liberians need to know that we are taking up a loan that our future generations will have to pay for. Again, I'm reading on this loan, and one of the reasons it said there's 2 pillars that this loan is supposed to address. One is laying the institutional and policy foundations in selective growth, supporting and resilient enhancing sectors. That's a heck of a lot of words there that don't really mean
and it's broad. It is broad. These are this is one of the reasons why some of the senators are saying that let's narrow this thing up and get specific area that the money is going to go to. We got $65 million. If you listen to the reading, so many years from now that they will be able to, that the Liberians, those on bond, will be obligated to pay that loan. So if there is no specific area that the loan is going to go to, then it raises more concerns, and that's why most of the senators were talking
Yeah.
or
So
speaking
once
about.
again, this is the reason why we have Spoon Talk. We have I want to call him our resident researcher, information gatherer. He says he has a drone in Liberia, nothing passes by his ear. I'm sure Mr. Eugene Fagon will be able to expand and elaborate on this issue. Like I had, Council Lamy Pakwa will elaborate on this great mandamus for the persecution of the three public servants that was resigned. He can expand on that for the Magnitsky Act. And I think Honorable Fagon can probably speak to us more about this loan. I'm reading about it. I'll probably have more to say about it in the next coming days. Like you're right, it is not specific enough for me, but maybe I'll get more information as the show goes on. So, Spoon listeners, stay tuned. Our viewers, stay tuned because we'll be discussing this. You have to think about this in future generation terms. How are we putting
Mm.
on, what burdens are we putting on to the future generations of Liberia? So that's something that we really have to think about. Are we able to pay for this loan? Would that interfere in other economic practices of ours, like if we are obligated to pay for this loan? So those are the kind of questions that I think we should be thinking about. Anything else, Aaron?
Yes, finally, from my end, the ruling coalition for democratic change
Mm-hmm,
has begun the primaries across the country.
mm-hmm,
Earlier today, they held a few primaries, most of them on wet ballots, with district number 15, Abu Kamara being elected on wet
mm-hmm,
ballot, Akaros Gray, district number 8, wet ballot. And then in district number 10, though not an incumbent, but she was also voted on web ballot. That's Josephine Davis, former Inspector General of Commerce, and she was voted. So she's going to be contesting against Yeke Koluba on the ticket of the CDC. But district number 5 and district number 13 primaries, who there is no report about what are those primaries were held, but they were planned for today, and they're going to be done across the country like the CDC announced. And so they've started doing their primaries across the country.
mm. Interesting. White ballot primaries tend to be interesting to me. But again, the CDC doing their thing. We'll wait and see. According to their constitution, that's probably what they need to do. But I think a very hot race would be Yeke Koluba's race. He's already started talking about, how he's been intimidated in his district. We saw different aspects of citizens' unrest in that district early on. So we will talk more about that as time permits. Um, I have one thing that I want to add to the trending news, something that was kind of floating on social media and something that sort of touched my heart as an educator, as someone who works in an academic institution. I know that a couple of two professors resigned from the University of Liberia Law School.
Mm.
And most recently, a very young professor by the name of Lucia Sonimbala, Counselor Lucia Sonimbala, Assistant Professor of Applied Legal Studies. She also put in her resignation because she said that a recent event involving the unilateral change, which means she was not involved in this change of grade. It was a unilateral, they did not consult her, it was done by somebody, of her final grade for this course, the Applied Legal Studies 2 course. So she sent in her letter of resignation. On social media, I don't know how true this is, whether this was verified. There, somebody posted, and it's been floating around the grades. I think there were 20 students grades
21,
and how.
about 21 of them.
Okay, thank you. So you saw that too, right, Aaron?
Yes. Mm.
So I think out of the 21 students, I think maybe 5 got, I think it says pass. I'm sorry, I probably, let me pull this up.
No,
I don't
those,
want to be.
those are that's the list of that was the list of students that failed, got F in her course, according to
Okay.
the statement. Though, yeah, according to that information. And
Mhm.
amongst them, there are about 4 or let's say 3 persons that have graduated, though they failed the course. but according to her, they were allowed to graduate after her grades that she sent were
Yes.
changed. And
Yes.
I understand the dean of the Louis Arthur Grant School of Law, Councillor Jala
Mhm.
Babu,
Yes.
has responded that
Mhm.
the course was not
Yes.
only assigned to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the course was not only assigned to her. They both had the course being taught for that
Okay.
semester. Yeah,
Okay.
and so yeah, but I've not gotten detail of his response to it because he appeared on OKFM. But
Yes.
I read just briefly his response, and that was one of the things that he said about the course not being assigned to the lady alone. But the question here is whether when the course not assigned to a single person, the person who taught the course grade can be changed, by the other person. And why is it that a single course was being taught by two other persons? I don't know whether that is done. I'm not condemning
Yes.
it because I don't have any idea on whether that is done. But if taught by
Yes. It's
two persons, then that means one person should be the boss and another person be an assistant. So if the person is an assistant, I don't think it will be contesting a change of grade when maybe the boss did that. So those are some of the things that are burning surrounding that entire case.
absolutely. Before we continue this conversation, I'd like to welcome former CEO to the show, even though he tells me not to welcome him to the show, but it's just something I'm
Yeah,
accustomed to. Everybody.
forget the former CEO Stanton.
Stanton. Okay, I would like to welcome Stanton to
But
the show. But
your internet is blurred though,
is it
right?
really? I
Right,
don't
Kuban?
know.
Kuban, are you seeing
Yeah,
her
yeah, yeah,
like?
yes. She
You know,
it gets
it's been
blurred, and then it comes back on.
yeah, it's been doing this since yesterday. But just to tell everybody, we did order a new modem. Uh, my husband's going to install this later on
Do
today.
you
But
do you turn off your computer? Maybe when you turn it off, or just clean the lines, the camera
maybe I
area where the little light coming from. Maybe you need a dry tissue to just clean
yeah.
it. Sometimes it
Okay,
happen on me.
let me do that. Let me do that. But I thought
Yeah,
it was a modem issue, and I did just
probably.
clean the whole computer.
I hope you don't
But
have a Lone Star internet though. That Lone Star internet.
that
However, call
orange
it Aaron Kuban.
that
How
orange
you call it? Orange.
yeah.
Yeah.
Orange. So we're having a discussion, Stanton. I want to sort of, I know we won't probably get to it today, but it's something because of my being in academia that's kind of just touched my heart a little bit. So there's two ways you can do this to answer your question, Aaron. I have been in situations where I have taught one class, but it is taught by two different professors. I would have my section and another professor would have the section. But because I've been in academia for 20 years, at least I usually take the lead on preparing all of the course material for whoever is going to be teaching this class, and they kind of follow my instructions on how to teach the class because of seniority and because of experience. I've had other situations where we had a joint, which I think this is a situation that applies right now. I have had a joint teaching of a class where I would teach certain topics that I have expertise on, and then another professor would come in. Well, I won't be on in class, but they would come in and teach certain topics that they have expertise or know more expertise or knowledge about that topic um, in the class, or maybe because of my timing, maybe I just, sometimes I'd be like, oh, you teach that class, I just need to take 6 classes and you take 6 classes if there's 12 semesters. So it sounds like this is what happened. However, when you have joint classes, there's always some kind of conversation, consulting that will go on. Somebody cannot change grades uh, without consulting the other person who's teaching the class, which is, I think, what you said happened. I'm just a little bit concerned about it because I was looking at this list, which I think, somebody posted the student's name and their grades, which again, I think that's privacy issues that will never happen here. I have children in college that even I'm paying the bill. When I call the school and ask it, can you guys tell me how my child did this semester? They will tell me no, because my child never signed a consent for me to have the grades shared with me, even though I will call and say, you better, if you want your tuition to continue being paid, you better sign that consent form. And then they do. But legally, there is a legal law that says that Nobody can have access to students' grades without their consent. And so putting these children's grades on social media is a little bit disturbing to me. And the
They're
second,
not kids. These are people who in law school, so these are adults. I don't know why they did that. But they said these are leaked.
yeah, anytime you go
They
to college,
just not
you are
publish
an
it. They said that's
adult. Anytime you're 18 or older in this country, you're an adult. So they're not even kids. But I call them kids because they could be my children.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I call everybody. I call you kid because you younger than me. But yeah. But
Yeah.
so yes, they are adults, but you can't do that. And then secondly, I'm concerned as an academician when you have 21 students getting 20% in a class. That asks me to do some reflection on my teaching methods. I want to have a conversation with the students. I want to have a conversation with the person who I'm sharing the class with. The dean will actually call me in and ask me what's going on in your class. Do the students not have the resources? Are you not meeting the students' need? How are you teaching? So it worries me. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm sure it doesn't. I don't know if it concerns the rest of the panelists.
Regency, we're losing you.
Huh? You can hear me?
We're losing you.
Yeah,
The
we can hear
network
you,
is bad.
Dr. Richardson. We are
Okay,
hearing.
yeah.
I'm hearing you.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
so well, that's so much of that subject for me because I know we have a guest today. We have Mr. Robert Franz Morris, who is a presidential aspirant. He's going to be coming in today at 5 o'clock our time, which should be 9 o'clock your time, to speak to the Liberian people about his vision and goals of making Liberia a more deserving country. He was supposed to come in yesterday, but we had some technicalities with his internet system at home. But I believe he's coming into the studio this time around. We played his video yesterday, and I believe Stanton asked that the video be put on the Spoon network so other people can have an option to see it. I don't know. I didn't follow up with that, but I don't know if that was done. So let me just welcome everybody. I want to welcome Mr. Fagon. I want to welcome Mo Ali to the show. Thank you for joining here. I want to welcome all of our viewers. I like to welcome you guys. Can you guys just give me a few minutes? Let me just welcome our viewers. I will take like 5 minutes or less. Okay, viewers, I like to welcome you because I believe you are such an instrumental part of this program. We like reading your comments. Sometimes you interrupt the show to tell us what you guys are saying, which is a good thing. So I also think that you play a very important role in the Spoon Talk. I'd like to welcome Maurice Sanga to the show. He's watching from Bristol, Pennsylvania. Like Mr. Fagon said, I welcome all my family people. And yeah, I got plenty of family people, Mr. Fagon. Kotu Momo, I'd like to welcome you from North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota. I'd like to welcome Jay Benedict Kolo Sanon from Dubai, UAE. I always like to see people watching the show from other countries because I kind of like vicariously travel through you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and all of those Liberians and passionate lovers of Liberia who are in Dubai. I want to say a special hello to you from Spoon Talk. Nimle Na Tekbi, I believe, is watching us. I can't pronounce where you're watching us from, namely, but thank you for joining us. Alice Doma is also watching us from New Jersey. Kwakwe Miller is watching us from Monrovia, Liberia. And Dr. Walker, he or she is always here from North Carolina, is watching us. There was someone who actually told me that they recognized my voice, which I remember the situation. I was down waterside and they just came in and said, Dr. Richardson, is you. And they recognized, because I always changing my hairstyle, but they said they recognized my voice. They're watching here today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to just tell all of you, thank you for joining us. And then I want to go to my panelists really quickly. We're going to ask them what's on their mind. And by 5 o'clock, which should be 9 o'clock your time, we will transition to our presidential aspirant here. And then he's going to be with us for an hour. And then we're going to transition back to discuss the politics of the day in Liberia. So again, let me start with Mr. Jiru, you here. Thank you. We missed you yesterday. Mr. Fagon, what's on your mind today? Your thoughts? How's your show today?
Hey, it was wonderful. What's on my mind is the fact that we're making the sacrifices to make our country a better place. When about 16 men can take on.
I came before Fagon.
I'm so sorry. I didn't see you for a second.
Man, you and Fagon do your thing, man. Come on.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
Then the man finish texting you, then you call him, man. On. I mean, if we come here on time,
Go.
That's us, man. Yeah, man, you're bad, man. You're bad. You're bad.
Go home, see, go cook.
You stay
Go
here
and
today.
cook. Go and cook. Go cook. Yesterday you didn't cook. I overheard your conversation. You didn't cook.
Oh,
I told you today you should cook.
See, we gotta be fair. The same fairness that Paco always talk about on the show. That today his political party never reached 2%. And they are celebrating his political party to go again. It is against the constitution of the election law. It is against it. When Councilor Paco said we must talk about policy, I want to come on the show to talk about policy. I want to come on the show to say your political party have no right to run in this 2023 election. Because no. And you know, you're ready for me, you're coming, man. You're ready for me, you're coming. How can you have a Gongo party that have this month? No. That's what Richard said, I beg you. You say, Mako Mallory, I beg you back. I beg you. No. That's what Richard said. Paco, Councilor Paco, Lamin Gibson Gerald. These guys in the political party have 0.74%. Liberians need to hear this. We have this councilor on the show that check everybody about policy issue. Yeah. They want to bring change in the country, and they are breaking the first commandment of the election law. How dare you, Councilor Paco? And we got Councilor
who brought this traffic argument? Because now we have gone from pedestrian argument to traffic.
I agree. Call it pedestrian argument.
You stick the man to the red light now, so that traffic light discussion will on now.
Yeah, but it's not correct. I hear people talking about that Yakwabudo Yure. People talking about Councilor Gonglo. Councilor Gonglo said he was sweep correction on day one. He been fighting my Edding. When we brought the other story, said no, you didn't. And people didn't get fair. His brother started Klebetu. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name right. Klebo. He started texting me and said, "Oh, Stento, you gotta chill. You gotta investigate your sources." How can we sit on this show? But man, you must say I come from pronunciation school, man. I call him Klebetu that man will agree. How can you come on this show? Yeah, man. I've been thinking about this ever so long.
0.74%.
0.74%. 11,560. The LPP honor Henry Boima Fambula Jr.
Yes.
Who gave you guys right to run this 2023 election?
Chapter 5 said the party
it's totally wrong. It's totally wrong.
Let's elevate the conversation today.
Let's elevate this conversation. Gongo have no right running under that political party again. He should run as an independent. I'm glad that no. I'm glad that his sister will be here on Friday. Edith will be here on Friday. And I know Edith. I respect her. She know that. But these Gonglos guys, they must speak to the nation to them. I mean, we're not hearing you. That sign language you got to speak in. We're not hearing you guys. Yeah, man. Every day we hear this time, the message we talk about policy. Gongo will bring this one. Why you guys running under the party LPP? Knowing very well, your party, Honor Henry Boima Famula Jr., LPP, got 11,560. No, let me finish. Councilor, let me finish. Councilor, you are not interrupt me. No. Do not make this a pedestrian argument. Do not make this, I will let you know. Pause. I will let you know.
Yes, what's that say?
Dr. Richard say, what's on my mind today? If we must change Liberia, we must change Liberia from its fundamental. We have Senator Smith say this thing is about the old age Liberian. Then he voted on the 65 million. We'll come to it later. I'm about to call you on the show and ask him, why did you vote on this thing? I need to know his reason. But let's go back to the fight here. Let's go back. It is very embarrassing that we will sit on the show and the councilor that went to law school. When we asked him how many cases you want, he got mad with me, though I was kidding with him. He said it's pedestrian argument. They brought us Yakwaulo couple gay Ure, Dr. Yakwaulo. You know, I'm just saying these things. But for his party, that had a country with 5.2 million, they gave him only 11,000. How can Councillor Gonglo run on?
I'm gonna send you so you can put it on. I'm gonna send you so you can put it on.
Yeah, send it. We'll put it up. Dr. Richardson, I'm done, man. I'm done. Seriously, it's not fair at all. You guys got to be fair with the Liberian people. You got to be transparent with the Liberian people.
How many minutes for what's on your mind? How many minutes?
I mean, you wasn't here yesterday, but man, you ran away. You wasn't here yesterday.
To waste everybody's time. We're not going to engage with it. We're not going to engage with that discussion because it's not to waste. Wait,
Dr. Richardson.
Let's talk serious issues here.
Dr. Richardson, I beg you.
In 2017 election, why did not get 11,000 votes or whatever?
Okay, so they said the party. They said the party. No, we will not forget. We will not forget the discussion. No, we will not forget. We will not forget. Mo Ali. No. Mo Ali, can you come in here? Mo Ali. Mo Ali. No, but they said it. They said the party. The party.
Order on the show. We have to have some kind of order.
I think it's my time. I think it's my time.
Come on. We were mute them all day today.
It's understandable that you people are afraid. It's understandable that you people are afraid.
No,
it's understandable.
But I'm more
reason why you should be afraid. Why are you afraid?
That more time. Let more speak. More you are protected. More you are protected.
I did not want to participate in that argument, but I don't think my brother Councillor Magoy is being fair to us. And he is a lawyer, and the law is clear. You
Chapter
have
5A.
We put it up. We'll put it up. Wait, coming up.
5AP.
Or an independent candidate feel or participated in an election and they don't have 2% of the votes for that particular position. If it is a party, that party should be suspended by NEC for 2 cycles of election. They cannot feel candidate for the same position. If I were an independent candidate and I participated in the election and for president and I never obtained 2% of the vote, right? I, as Mo Ali, cannot participate in 2 elections. NEC should suspend me. And the same apply to a political party. The same thing goes for if you feel a senatorial candidate or a representative candidate. Say you put a senatorial candidate in Monserrado. That senatorial candidate on your party did not obtain 2%. That party cannot feel candidate in the next 2 elections in Monserrado. And it's not only with LPP, even the MPC should not be allowed to feel candidate as MPC.
And that Mr. Freeman, I'm sorry, that Mr. Freeman, right?
Yes.
Freeman?
So it does not refer to the individual. In this case, it is not referring to Councillor Gongo as an individual, but the LPP as an institution. And if Councillor Kpagoi, then one of their mantra they are contesting on is the rule of law, then they should begin to implement the rule of law from there. They should be fair to us and say, look, you know what? The LPP did not meet this requirement under the law. And therefore, we will advise that Councillor Gongo to go under another political party or as an independent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we know that you
we come to you here. Hold on, we come to you here. Let him finish.
Mohammed.
Then we know that no. Let him finish.
Mohammed one question.
No. Let him finish. No, let him finish back. Let him finish back.
Ask you questions so you can add it to his response.
No, man, stop disturbing the show. Let him finish. Yeah. But go ahead.
Let me say, ask him a question so he can add it to his response.
So he can add it to his response. I want to ask you questions so he can add it to his response.
The
there are other political parties here that know that rule, that know that law. That is the reason why they're not feeding presidential candidates. They are abiding by it. We will expect the LP, which is a very friendly party, the MPC also, like the argument raised by Stanton, to begin to abide by the law. It should not only
Okay.
be on.
Okay.
I beg you.
Let me ask you one question.
You interrupting the show. Dr. Richard say, I beg you, let's do something. On this topic, let me handle it. I'm begging you. Yeah.
Okay, you
when Robert comes, you handle that topic.
Issue.
Yeah. Take me no code. On the topic, let me handle it. I'm begging you. So we're going to Gibson. Let's hear Gibson for what made you last, Councilor.
Gibson, you some of the time to me. Let me ask a question.
No. Gibson, you gotta speak. We're not yielding nothing. No way.
Are we speaking on what's on our mind or on this issue?
No, on this issue first. We're kind to know what's on your mind if you're going to Liberia or not.
I think we're going to know our time.
I like how the people expect by the KPARGOW.
The only determinant authority to decide whether the LPP will not be accredited or not accredited is the Election Commission. So long we do not have an stopper from the Election Commission, we are good to go. It has nothing to do with Councilor Gonglo's character. It has nothing to do with his.
So as a co-moderator, I get right to ask you a question. Let me ask you this: is there anything in the policy, the guidelines from the Election Commission, the law, to say that if you are less than 2%, that party shouldn't run the next cycle of election? Because we're about to read it. Is there anything in it that you know of?
I have it right before me here. I'm looking at it.
So it is true. So it is true that we have something that we can talk about, right? But then you as an individual, as a Liberian, as a fair man that bringing transparency to Liberia, erasing the culture, the old culture, like honored Councilor Gonglo. Are you agreeing with the fact that Councilor Gonglo should run on that party ticket? Or because you want to be fair, he should run as an independent?
I think he should run on the party ticket until the Election Commission can say the party is not qualified. First of all, we need to look at the time the election law came to effect. We also have to look at somebody cannot be affected for something that happened before the election law came into effect. So we cannot dwell on that. For instance,
thank you. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you, Mr. Joe. Eugene. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, very quick.
If a law is passed, if something happened and law is passed, you cannot go back for the law to affect the person that was passed before. So you can't.
Do you know when the law was passed? Do you know when was it passed?
You tell me.
Well, passed prior to 2017 election.
2014. That law was amended 2014.
So now you know. So now you know. Gibson, now you know. What would be your advice to Councilor Gonglo?
I believe Councilor Gonglo should continue to run on the party ticket until.
So it means that your party is not fair. Your party is not law-abiding party, though. If you say that, your party. No. Gibson. Yeah, please do. I gotta bring your brother in. Hurry up.
There are two things that happen to a law passing in Liberia. If the law was passed in 2014, the president has to sign it and it has to be put into handbill. That's when it takes effect.
Who then you can't teach you?
The law has been printed.
Let's go ahead. It's in a handbill. Man. Fagon, can you come on real quick? I beg you, Gibson will come to you. Fagon, can you speak real quick? We gotta go to Councilor Bako. I think the guest is in studio. I think so. I don't know. But go ahead, Honorable Fagon.
When you come late to church, do not raise a new song. Because the Pope be finished singing that song long time. You and myself, we sang the thing the other day where you and Lami were where the person who said anything to me now more than para, more said anything to me when I look at I said, hey Mo. He said, but the man was saying, let it fit.
Why you put more awesome? You better more run away.
When I brought it to you, I remember vividly well. I heard Lami say, but the main force to run LPP, he can go as an independent.
Hey, what you say? I about to play that clip. Why you said it, man? Go.
I said to him, I said, Lami, I got 10 things for you. And I want you. Now one, I put us out. The other one I want to put us out today. I will keep it on my either Gonglo camp.
My man, don't.
But let me speak to the issue 30 seconds. Guys.
You got nothing.
what the law says is what the law says. Thankfully, the law is right before your eyes. You can see it.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Gonglo. Gonglo as an individual did no wrong. But Gonglo said he would be the law candidate in the whole race. The law says if a party does not obtain 2%, that party, for the third time I will say it, that party cannot field a candidate. Then Gonglo goes inside the party and say, you know, I've been my new Gonglo. Feed me. That law candidate there? That the law candidate? So you start breaking the law from day one. Like yesterday, while we're on the live feed, and I'm bringing this to all of your attention, one guy said, wait now, the other party here not do nothing here. We see corruption with me making. Now you coming now, the first man here need 4 days to the election. Now the man say the law candidate, the law king before y'all say the man should run. I don't think Gonglo should go on the LPP ticket. If Gonglo wants to demonstrate that he is the candidate of law, then Gonglo have to respect the law. The LPP did not get 2%. Gonglo must now run as Tier 1 Gonglo, independent candidate running for the position. He can still use the party structure because it's already in place, but he's running as an independent. And the independent will be in coalition, not coalition because he can't announce it, but the LP will endorse him, the LPP, will endorse him and offer support to him. Then he is the law candidate. If he breaks the law, I'm afraid.
Let me ask.
No. Gibson, no. Let's bring in Councilor. No. I beg you, Fagon, wait. We got to bring in Councilor. Do 2 for 1. 2 of them the same. When they come with a question, you answer it. Let's bring in Councilor. You got a whole day. They won't give people a hard time.
So I think the more important thing to be discussed.
Let me take 1 minute of your time. Councilor, let me take 1 minute.
No, Gibson. Gibson, this is an absolute waste of our time, and the intention of the discussion is to waste our time. I just all. So when you engage with it, you're just helping them to waste our time. What we should be talking about, and I didn't even know it was Mo Ali that brought it up. And you tell me in which people brought this stuff up, that what we should be talking about. They are afraid. Some kind of fear has engulfed the UP.
That is my funny.
Or fear has engulfed the UP. That the reason why they bring it, they brought it in on the moment we announced, or not even announced, the moment they heard our vice presidential candidate, they started bringing in this stuff up. Then they started even talking about Nima, the man change his name and all that kind of stuff. The people afraid. What making them afraid?
Man, I'm hearing this argument from.
Hold on 1 minute, guys.
CEO official of the party, and he says in a former VP office, he didn't want to show it when, so he passed it through Fangon. I didn't even know if Fangon just. He just said the whole thing.
But guys, no, Councilor, be serious.
What we should be discussing?
You know that Fangon is just kidding.
Councilor, Gibson, wait. 2 of you at the same time. Gibson, wait. Councilor, you are Councilor at law. Councilor, before we go to Dr. Richardson, because and Dr. Richardson part today, I beg you, thank God they call more and they gave us more chance. Let the man fight this thing out. Councilor, you got dry face. In somewhere like bro would say they can't lick your face. That's exactly what you're doing tonight.
Yeah.
Are you dare to tell us? Are you dare? You telling us, the Liberian people, that it's okay for Councilor Tewon Say Gonglo to run under the LPP ticket, knowing very well that he would be breaking one of the fundamental law that was established 2014.
Councilor Gonglo
because his party. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. This is Harry Buema formula. My man, let me finish. Let me finish.
And you just
this is Harry Buema. This is Harry Buema formula. What kind of councilor is this?
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Wait. I will do something to the guy.
I think
the problem about Gibson Way. You finish saying the memo wrong. You said
the question is coming to 2 of us. I wanted to point.
No. I didn't call your name. I gotta go to Dr. Richardson.
Let me
I gotta
point
go
the
to Dr.
I'll give you 10.
No, I gotta go to Dr. Richardson. I mean, hold on 1 minute.
See,
I gotta go to Dr. Richardson.
If people want to stress us,
I gotta go to
they
Dr.
don't read our law
Richardson.
in totality. They
Well,
want to stress
man.
us. They don't read our law in
I'm trying to point out in the law what the law says.
How can I mute Councilor Lamy? I tried, but it's not holding on. I won't mute it, Aaron. But now it's standing. Let's say this real quick. Councilor, you guys are making up. You cannot change Liberia on those arguments, you and Gibson. You cannot. Let me finish. I'll give you a chance to talk. Let me finish. I'll give you. Let me, my man, Becky, go to court. The court, yeah, the man. I'm the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
I know it's your toy. I know it's your toy, but you can't do that. You can't be doing that.
My man, but you gotta stop interrupting. You gotta stop interrupting.
I mean, when other people interrupt you, can say anything about it.
I muted Eugene Fagon, but you will not change the argument today because you know why? You guys are in error.
No, but you answer the question.
Hold on 1 minute. You see that the reason why they can meet you because you're not holding on. You will have your time. Dr. Richardson, let's be serious for the sake of the country. Mr. Cummings came 7%. We know that. We laugh about it, we joke about it, but at least Mr. Cummings came 7.21%. Mr. Cummings, 7.21%. He got all right to run under his party and all to run as an independent. It's not what we say or what Mo Ali say here today. The fact remains is that Councillor Tewon say Gonglo is in error, Dr. Richardson. He want to be the candidate of change. How can we sell him to the Liberian people if we bring in one of the fundamental law of the National Election Commission? Then Councillor Lamy and his brother Gibson want us to agree. I can give you all the show all day, but you guys are in error. Y'all be fair. You want to bypass the system? Say you want to bypass the system. And let's move on.
Can I talk now?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me say something really quick. The law that we are reading, it says that the Election Commission will suspend that institution. The Election Commission preserves the right to suspend and not to suspend. So long the LPP did not receive any suspension, it remains valid. Do not read the law upside down. You read the law upside down. The law says the commission will suspend. The law says the commission will suspend that party. If the commission does not suspend that party, who are we to ask the commission and say why you didn't suspend the people? So Councillor Gonglo should go to the election commission and say why you didn't suspend LPP? I want to run there. The commission did not suspend LPP. That means LPP is valid. It can run. It can feel a candidate. That's what the law says. Until the law is changed, it remains the law. The commission will suspend. The commission has not suspended the party. So how can Congo go everywhere and say, oh, let me go ask the election commission whether I can run or not? If anybody have the suspension of the LPP by the election commission, produce that letter, let's look at it. Then we can tell, I'll be the first to tell Councillor Gonglo, you can't go. But until now, the election commission has not suspended LPP, and so it's not an argument.
Okay, you finish? Thank you, Gibson. That bring your brother, the Councillor Lamik Bako. Councillor, you won't finish up because the guest is in the studio.
Yeah, it's 5:02.
Councillor, you won't finish up? We're not. Go ahead.
You tell us what you're afraid of. You say we're not significant to the process. So what are you people afraid of? That by the time they want someone opinion pool that was basically in your echo chamber and you saw few people how they call it, and then we saw a name or running mate, then you get afraid. What are you afraid of? You're a big political party, you got all the machinery, you got all government money behind you. And, you know, big corruption government money sitting behind you. So you
hear what you say? You got all government money behind you.
True.
When we come to it, then you will get vexed.
You guys are in power. You guys are in power. You looted the country. You're running. You got that loot in your possession. So what you're afraid of? We don't have anyone in. So when you're so afraid that by the time you're running made need, then you start raising all kind of issues. Just tell us what you're afraid of.
Okay,
you think the Liberian people will see through the lies and decide that they want somebody who can make a real change? That what you think? That what you people are afraid of? You are creating this situation.
So we have the guests in the studio. We have the guests in the studio.
Like the Richardson was talking about.
But Councillor, you can't start now. No, we got guests in the studio. You look at the man. We got to bring the man on.
Councilor, let's take
yeah.
our discussion.
No problem.
We'll resume.
Yeah, thank you.
I suggest we have a full time to discuss this issue because I think Lami is taking it.
So you calling me on
level, which we discuss.
Wait, Moali.
You tell us what you're afraid of doing that discussion. You tell us your fear.
I will tell you what I'm afraid of.
Councilor, we are afraid of you.
Let's not discuss it.
Lami Fagon forget it. We'll tell the man what we are afraid of.
Okay. We have a guest today.
Yes, ma'am.
Our guest is presidential aspirant Robert Franz Morris. He will be here discussing his visions and plan for Liberia. We'll start with one question, and if time permits, we'll go on to 2 questions. I want to remind Stanton, you have an announcement to make as well. I think let's do it now. I don't want to forget. Did you send the information to whoever produced it?
No, I didn't. So we'll send the information later. But it's not a big announcement. The world is not coming down. It's my uncle's birthday. We are Peter. We were announcing. The puppy watching his children. Let's move on.
Okay.
I won't deal with it tonight. I hope we have enough time to deal with Gipsy and his brother, Councilor Lami Paco.
Do not forget it because he's your support system, and his daughter is a good friend of mine, Angie, who contacted me. And I want to make sure, Angie, we will be announcing your dad's birthday. He turned 85. And happy birthday in advance. We'll talk about it more at the end of the show. But great. I see that Robert Franz Morris, a presidential aspirant, is here. You can see him on the screen. I want to welcome you to Spoon Talk. I would like for you to just begin by giving us an opening comment about your thoughts about bringing change to Liberia and perhaps the reason why you have decided to embark on this venture of running to become president of Liberia.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thank you, everybody, for having me on. Thank you, Stanton.
Can we increase his volume, please? He's very low.
Mr. Jiru and Councilor Pagoy. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here. I would like to start off by just kind of giving I always give this sort of as my reason for being here, how I got here is a short little story, and then after that, I can go into my sort of some of my platform issues and why, what I believe in my vision for the country. It was 1990. It was a Tuesday in May. I came from school, and for those of you who've heard this story prior, it is the story. And I came from school. We lived on Dupo Road at the time, and it was a Tuesday. I met my bags packed. My mom said, well, hey, listen, you got to leave the country. And I literally didn't have time to shower. And we got on the road to head to Robertsfield. At that time, of course, Robertsfield, from the road from town to Robertsfield was not what it is today. So it was actually a highway. And you could drive 60, 70 miles straight without having any, it was basically barren. So you could get to Robertsfield in, I would say, 40 minutes. It took us 2 hours plus to get to Robertsfield that day. And basically there were checkpoints every 10 miles or so with soldiers in gully suits with the leaves and everything hanging over them. These were not a joking kind of guy. The father guy was serious about business. To give a little bit of context, the rebels were now at just about to breach Kakata from the north and Owens Grove from towards Buchanan Way. So basically they were closing in on the city. We got to the airport and my mom basically said, hey, listen, with what we saw on that road. I'm not gonna hang around here till dark because I don't want to be on that road until dark. I'll leave you here with your aunt, and then I will head back to town. We'll talk when you get there. And so she handed me she took off her wedding band and she handed it to me. She said, when I see you again, I will take it from you, but take this with you. I said, okay. Got on the flight, made it to New York. By the time I got there, all the lines have been cut to Liberia. Long and short of the story, that was the last time I saw my mother alive. There are many people who have similar stories, and this is mine. I came home during the war, in the midst of the war, to bury her. And one of the commitments I made to myself at that time was that never again, of course I was young, but I said never again would I, with breath in my body, sit by and stay idly by and feel helpless whenever I felt that we needed to change direction in our country. And part of the reason why I'm here today is because of that commitment I made. I'm sticking with it. I have continued to do things along that route up until today. I ended up finishing high school in the U.S. Of course, I started all my education here. I am a Markibian. I'm born and raised in Firestone. Went to school there, had some of the best teachers that this country has ever produced. The late Joseph Vani, the late Shirley Stewart, the late Della Reeves, Mag Campbell, and the list could go on. Firestone has always produced the best teachers and the best educational system, and it still is today. I finished my education in the U.S., went to University of Maryland, graduated with a bachelor's in business administration, started an NGO, the Uplift Foundation, started raising support for refugees in the region, started traveling back and forth to Ivory Coast and Ghana. I participated in peace talks in 2003, part of civil society. Came back home. In 2005, I ran in the elections here in Marguerite County District 4, representative. I'm what is currently District 1 and 2. I was later appointed as the Deputy for Administration at the Roberts International Airport, where I stayed until 2017 when there was a change in government. I'm a Liberian first. I'm a loving father, devoted husband, and a passionate Liberian. So that's kind of my story. That's kind of my background.
Robert, I'm always sorry to hear about the loss of your mother. And as you probably know, you were the youngest among us. Your sister and your brothers are friends of mine. So I'm going to just say that out here. And I've always been sorry to hear about the loss of your mother. But thank you for taking on this venture. I'm going to go on to ask the panelists to ask you questions. Or if you want to speak about your platform a little bit, I don't know whether you want to do that.
Yeah, I would like to go through my platform, and then because a lot of the questions will probably come from different areas in my platform. So I would like to go through my platform, and then that would give some basis for a lot of the questions. And
yes, go ahead.
Also aid them in how they can form and fashion their questions. My platform is straightforward. It's very pragmatic. To begin with, the basis of my platform is power production, electricity, as a foundation. If we do not provide adequate, affordable power in Liberia, electricity, we are going nowhere. We can do everything else. We're not going anywhere. This studio I'm in right now, when I came in here, I asked, anywhere I go, I always ask, how is it being powered? We have very sensitive equipment. There's no way anyone can do anything. We can't move this country forward without power. Okay. So my basis of my entire, the hub, the center of my entire platform, everything on my platform pretty much is rooted in adequate power production. Now, the first pillar in my on my platform is resetting our relationship with the United States of America. If we do not reset the relationship with the United States of America, we're not going anywhere. We can talk until we're black and blue. People can posture. People can say, oh, well, this or that. We're just not going anywhere. That's just the truth of the matter. And anybody who knows what I'm talking about. There's no point. There's no profit in us being antagonistic or fighting with America. we have to reset that relationship. It will aid us in everything from international relationships. These are the people who will represent us at those G7 and G20 meetings. They would be the ones to give us the nod for businesses and investments to be able to come here, and many other things. So number one on my pillar is resetting our relationship with the United States of America. It's not going to take much effort. You just have to set the policy and get the right foreign experts in place. Number two is corruption. We have to be seen as being serious and committed about tackling this cancer called corruption. Now, I'm a realist, I'm pragmatic. I understand that there's corruption everywhere, including the United States of America. You can find corruption in so many places. What we have to do is we have to ensure that corruption is not systemic in Liberia. We have to be seen to be serious about fighting it. If we do not fight corruption, nobody's coming here. Nobody's bringing their money here. Okay. We're looking to provide jobs on a basic level for people in this country. In order to do that, we're going to have people have to bring them resources in this country. We have a vibrant diaspora population. Some of them are very anxious to come back home. We're not going to be able to attract those people out without us being seen to be serious about fighting corruption. And that starts from number one. As president, I intend on day one, declare everything, declare all your assets. Everyone that's appointed must also declare their assets. If they are unable to, then hey, they can find a job somewhere else. We're also going to set up the first whistleblower hotline. So you can basically report corruption. Anybody can report corruption anonymously if you need to, if you want to be identified. But basically, we'll set up a whistleblower hotline that people can be able to report corruption, and we're going to fund that hotline also. Number three on my list of platforms is education. Since I came back home, I started volunteer teaching. I commit 2 hours or more a week. My sister is an education expert. She helps me a lot with that. And when I came as deputy, and this started because I was deputy at the airport, and I would have people come in and bring applications. Some people with double masters, some people with PhDs. And when I would sit down and talk with them, and I was like, this is not possible. It can't be a double master degree person. And I mean this. And it made me wonder what the education system was. And so I basically went in and started to teach. I didn't know what to do. So I said, let me go and see what the education system is. Let me see what the challenges are. And I started teaching. I just volunteered. I wrote the schools and I volunteered, and they were confused at first. They said, what the deputy for the airport, one can teach it. They thought it was some game or something. But over time, they then understood. And I started teaching. And I've been teaching ever since. And it's extremely good insight. And I would advise anybody who came back to actually just volunteer at any school, it doesn't matter, and go and teach. It will show you what students are going through, and will show you what teachers are going through and what schools are going through. If we don't get this education thing right and bring our education system in the 21st century, we're not going to make it. We're not going to get a qualified and equipped, basically, workforce. First thing we have to do with education is have to pay the teachers. I have B certificate, C certificate teachers making less than $200. It's not going to work. You've got to pay people a living wage, and you got to pay it on time. Okay. Then you got to give them training. We're in the 21st century. IT is a major part of any educational system anywhere in the world. In Kenya now, in their curriculum, they have coding as a standard in their curriculum. We have to get to that level. We have to leapfrog to that level. And we have the ability and we have the capacity to do that. So we have to train teachers. We have to pay teachers well. We have to train them. And then we have to get our fundamentals, our basics, reading and writing. We must become a reading and a writing nation again. Even if students and children do not have the best educational system, if they read and they write, they will be able to make it. They will become educated on a certain basic level. One of the things my sister and I do at my foundation is we find scholarships both locally and internationally for students. We have a situation in Liberia today where one of the toughest part of the scholarship process for our students is the essay. And the essay is a very critical aspect. All of these schools want to see what you've done. And our kids are unable to express themselves. and no fault of their own. The TOEFL, there's something called a TOEFL, for, especially for the applications where students are going abroad to the US. It's a test of English as a foreign language. We today in Liberia have students scoring less than students in Ivory Coast, Senegal, and other Francophone speaking nations. And they are unable to qualify for all these many scholarships that exist. A lot of people may not know, but there's hundreds of thousands of scholarships that go on field every year. It's not, we don't have a shortage of scholarship. We just are not able to, all of our students are not able to qualify for a lot of scholarships that are available. So education, okay, we must get basic TVET back into schools. But in today's world, by the time our students graduate high school, they should be able to go straight into the workforce, or they should be able to employ somebody. So they should be able to go and get employment or be employable. That means they must learn IT. They must be able to do graphic designing. They must be able to code. They must be able to set up solar systems, electrical, plumbing, anything they can use with their hands. In my classes, I ask students, I say, how many people here know how to eat rice? Is a fun thing we do. Everybody raise their hand. I say, how many people here know how to grow rice? In Liberia, where rice is a staple, not a single student raises their hand. Sometimes maybe one or two. We cannot have a situation in our country where we grow and we eat rice and nobody knows how to grow rice. That doesn't make any sense. So I personally feel that every student before you graduate should know how to grow rice. Get the fundamentals back. I want to bring ROTC back into schools, get discipline, okay? Get some civic knowledge back into schools. We're losing our value system. We're losing that essence that makes us Liberians. Okay. The next pillar is health. So similar to education, the first thing we have to pay these people, pay them well. Okay, I have doctors, I have midwives. You know, I go to all these town halls all over the country, and 100, 200 people at a time. And every time I raise this issue and I'll say, yeah, we got doctors and we got midwives making less than $100, and they will raise somebody in the crowd. Well, always, whenever there's a midwife or a nurse, that will raise their hand. No, that's not so. We're not even making that one. We ain't even making that one. They ain't not even coming. We have to pay these people. If you don't pay people, people will not work. Pretend to pay people, people pretend to work. We have to pay them a living wage. We've got to enable people to be able to go home and take care of their families. I worked at the airport for a long time. I was deputy for administration, and human resource fell under me. People say Liberians are lazy. I can tell you that's a lie from somebody who's been in this system for over 15 years. Liberians want to work. If you give them work, they will work. Are there some of the bad? Yeah, there will be some bad ones. When I worked in the US, we had, people who also bad employees. But by and large, Liberians want to work. We have to be able to give them the tools to be able to work. And then we have to pay them. So pay these nurses, pay these doctors. Again, you have doctors, midwives making less than $200. It's not a living wage. You can't take care of your family. And these are people that are supposed to be taking care of our lives. If something is wrong with us, we're supposed to run to them. We can't expect that. We got to give them better training. Again, just like education, the world is changing with technology. We've got to bring these people up to speed. Liberians in all parts of the diaspora, when you go into different fields, they excel. We can do the same here. It's no different. You don't change your constitution when you leave here. You're the same person. So we can get that same thing here. But we got to pay them. We got to give them the adequate training. And we have to regulate these medical facilities and institutions a lot better. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to health in Liberia is the medications coming to this country. We have to regulate it. Okay, we have to regulate it. I happen to have medical experts on my team. And one of the issues people have is when you get sick and the doctor prescribes you something, and if it's for an infection, even your upper respiratory infection, if they're giving you what people joke about in Liberia, say, oh, man, that's also Gary in our tablet. If it's an antibiotic and it doesn't have what it's supposed to have in it, and you're prescribing this and you're taking this, supposed to take it 3 times a day, you will die. And a lot of people are dying for that. Also, they wish the man, they wish the woman know the medication. So we have to also address that in our health policy. The next one on my list is infrastructure. And that goes to, where I say is the basis, building our national electrical power grid for the country. And this is the first and foremost thing I want to do. People saying your first 100 days, but a lot of people don't realize that after election, once they declare you the winner and they declare you everything, you actually have about 45 days to 60 days to actually start working. So you can start working from there. So you have about 100 plus 45 days. And with this, we can start to create jobs immediately. A lot of people don't realize that we don't have a situation in Liberia right now where we don't have adequate power. The Transgo CLSG lines that come from Ivory Coast, it comes down through Yekepa, goes through Botota, comes all the way down to Buchanan, and then swings west and goes through Monrovia and then through Marcofi until it gets to Bo. We have the lines in here. We can get power in here. What we don't have is a distribution network. And through that distribution network, we can create tons of jobs right away out of the blocks. The first thing, like I said, I was born and raised in Firestone. We don't use wooden poles in Firestone. We use only concrete poles. And the reason for that is because you have slash and burn. And if you have wooden poles, people slash and burn, they burn the poles down. With concrete poles, it lasts forever. The production of those concrete poles immediately from county to county, this is in every single county, starting off with the seat of government, producing those concrete poles to start a distribution network. You can start to employ people on that basic level immediately. I'm talking about Liberian supplying cement, construction companies, the workers that will be producing these poles, all of these young people that are without jobs, the people installing the poles, the people running the lines, and so on and so forth. Immediately, that is what we can start to do and build, and also build the distribution network for electricity, which with electricity, now you can bring people back into the country and you can also bring industry. Without that foundation, that's the foundation for everything. Roads. When I was at the airport, we did a project to overlay the runway. Part of how we paid for it was we ring-fenced some of our income. We went to a bank and we negotiated, and the airport is about a $10 million a year business. It's not a large business. But we ring-fence some of our income that we're getting from, when you guys, anytime you buy a ticket, any of us buy a ticket, if you look at the buying ticket, they have all those fees that they take out, security fee, all those fees. Some of those fees go to the airport. And we ring-fence some of that, and we're able to go to a bank, and then we financed the construction of both the terminal and the runway partially. Now, we can do the same here. Okay, we have monies coming in that we all contribute to, the road fund. We can go and domicile that, or ring fence a portion of that, and go to a bank and do an assessment of all of the roads that we need to have done in this country, the ones that are critical, and get the funding for it. Many banks will fight for it, and then you basically domicile the proceeds to go to that bank, and they will be excited about that. The contractors will be excited about that because then they don't have to go through the whole finance administrative process of payments and financial system, all of that. And Public Works can just supervise and sign off on these. Liberian companies do all the maintenance of roads. You can get major international companies to do the installation of brand new roads. That's for roads. Our airport, of course, I'm an airport person. Aviation, that's my baby. So I want us to get our hub status back. We used to have our hub status when we have 17 odd international airlines from BCAL, Swiss Air, you name it. Everybody flew in here. Everyone on this panel old enough to remember those days. Yes, part of it was due to the civil unrest, and we lost that to Ghana. We can get some of that back. I want us to become a hub status again, where we start drawing in these international flights to come here. We need to start being able to fly directly to the United States. We need to start being able to fly directly, get direct flights out to Europe, and have people dump into here and then be able to connect into these places. That's with infrastructure. Agriculture. We have a situation in Liberia right now. The first thing is we have to start growing our own food, our own staple. Nowhere in the world, anyone meaningful. I lived in Ghana and I lived in Ivory Coast. In Ghana, for their staple, they use corn. In Ivory Coast, they use cassava. I did some work at the Port Freely in Ivory Coast. I never one day saw any ships coming in, bringing in cassava. You go to Tiama Port, you would never see ships coming in, bringing in corn. We must very rapidly get to the point within 3 years of a President Robert Morris administration, we should start producing our own rice. We have to produce our own rice. I have not eaten any imported rice since I moved back to Liberia over 10, 15 years. Whenever there's rice crisis and people running helter-skelter, I just look at it and I laugh. I got my rice. I mean, they increased the price, but I have rice. We cannot outsource our stomach across the ocean, and then when there's a flood in Pakistan, we don't have food. What's wrong with, when did we get to this point? We are importing pepper from Guinea, oranges from Sierra Leone, and rice from Pakistan and other places. As Liberia, with the most fertile soil in this country, my father's an agronomist. Are we kidding ourselves? And nobody seems to see anything wrong with that picture. So immediately, we have to start growing our own rice. There's efforts on the way. I know this guy, I talked to him on social media, Armstrong Jagba, I think, and he's doing a lot now. But first thing, the house. We got to get data on what's being grown, where it's being grown, and what quantities. We have to find out first and foremost. We are growing some rice here. We were a country that used to export rice before. What are we growing? What varieties? And then we have to start seeing how we can reestablish sort of like the agriculture development program that used to be here at the Ministry of Agriculture, if it's not still going, and start to infuse all of these agricultural students from all of these universities all over the country, and get them to be extension officers going into these farmers, get them trained and get them to train farmers to increase their production, to increase their yield, know how to use pesticide, how to use fertilizer, and start to increase it. Grow pepper, something as simple as pepper. Why are we importing pepper from Guinea? Onions. I lived in Ghana. Ghana had those big red onions, and their soil is rockier than ours. So we must grow our own rice. We must stop the importation of all of our basic food stuff and grow it here and use it. We must start to export basic things like cassava chips. Cassava chips is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the world. I mean, there's a lady in Bon County, Mam Masu Batu, I think she has a cooperative and she's exporting cassava chips. We should encourage that and we should multiply that. Cassava is easy to grow in many places in the country. My final pillar is drugs, anti-drugs. When I was growing up, and probably a lot of people on this platform who are older and about my age, the toughest thing we had here were grass, weed, marijuana. If you were caught with marijuana, everybody say, well, you smoke marijuana, you get crazy. I don't know how we got to the point now where we have the kind of drugs that are on the streets in Liberia. I drove by Center Street the other day, and literally we have our children. I saw children living inside of graves. Okay, inside of graves, strung out on the kind of drugs. I mean, I remember when crack was an epidemic stateside, and they're on stuff that seems to be worse than crack cocaine. Part of the National Whistleblower Hotline, we're going to establish immediately what we call the also a Crime Stopper hotline that will be funded. Anybody knowing anything, every Liberian with a phone will become an informant. If you even part of the drug deal, you can go finish dropping the drug and call. Again, you can be anonymous. You don't have to be seen. We've got mobile money functioning now. We can use that and go ahead and fund you if it leads to a successful drug bust. We have to attack this scourge, or else we will lose our future. Like I said, I grew up in Firestone. Okay, my father's an agronomist. The first thing you do when you have a farm is you establish a nursery. If you do not establish a nursery and tend to it, you don't have a farm. When those trees will grow old, you must have succession planning. If you do not have a nursery, they will grow old and you will lose it. Our nursery, we're losing right now without anybody realizing it, right before us. So with that, we must enhance our border entry points. I worked at the air for a long time. They have screening machines. It's available to detect drugs when they come into the country, to be able to intercept them. must get sniffer dogs at all of our noon border crossing and our over 144 on-noon border crossing. We must start to enhance the security at those places to start to prevent the drugs. We must get into a closer partnership with the DEA from the United States and with Interpol to both address the source of it and the destination, because Liberia is now becoming a transshipment zone. And a lot of these drugs are staying here for our children to kill themselves with. So that is basically my platform. Okay, it's a 6-7 point platform. Of course, no one is able to touch on everything, but those are the focus areas for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. I would like to just play a video as the panelists just get their thoughts together about asking you questions. You presented a video to us. Producer who's in the studio, Aaron, could you please play that video as the panelists get their thoughts together about asking presidential aspirant Mr. Robert Morris questions? So who's in the studio?
Let's face it, our nation needs saving, period.
Uh-oh. Please play the full video.
Let's face it, our nation needs saving, period. And we are the only ones who can and must save it, no one else. If we do not fight to save our great nation, we, our children.
Councillor Paco. Is Aaron in there? Is he hearing us?
He's trying to play the stuff.
Okay.
Let's face it, our nation needs saving, period. And we are the only ones who can and must save it, no one else. If we do not fight to save our great nation, we, our children, and the Omanim will very soon not have a nation to call home. We cannot be content looking back with nostalgia at the prosperity and greatness that we once enjoyed before the war. Those stories and memories of the days of old do not feed our children today. The grandeur of our past does not take care of today's sick and suffering. Collectively, we have to recognize and accept just how far we have fallen.
Okay, there may be some technical difficulties in the studio. As you probably know, we have internet connect.
Let's face it, our nation needs saving, period. And we are the only ones who can and must save it, no one else. If we do not fight to save our great nation, we, our children, and the Omanim will very soon not have a nation to call home. We cannot be content looking back with nostalgia at the prosperity and greatness that we once enjoyed before the war. Those stories and memories of the days of old do not feed our children today. The grandeur of our past does not take care of today's sick and suffering. Collectively, we have to recognize and accept just how far we have fallen. We have to look at the state of things as they are now and acknowledge that we have an infinite capacity to raise our standard of living, reduce the price of food, and create new opportunities for our people. It only requires leadership with vision and understanding that is practical and grounded in reality. We need someone who recognizes that until we invest in quality medical care to keep Liberians healthy, thousands of our citizens will continue to die young. We need someone who recognizes that the sorry state of our infrastructure holds back economic growth, deprives our farmers of access to markets, and our citizens within the diaspora of the security required for them to contribute to nation building. We need someone who understands the importance of a better educated workforce, so that companies that invest in Liberia have easy access to a well-trained and talented workforce. We need someone who recognizes that right now, all of Liberia pays a terrible price for the incompetence and corruption of her leadership and the failure to modernize our roads, our public transit, our electric grid, our internet capacity, and our water and sanitation infrastructure. As the saying goes, when you want something done, best do it yourself. I do not trust anyone else with the responsibility of leading this once great nation down this course that I've charted. And it's for that reason that I am running for president of the Republic of Liberia. I seek not fame or fortune. I'm just tired of all of us pretending. No, we are tired of pretending that all is well when we know full well that it's not. People working but not getting paid, the illegal reselling of land with impunity, all of this corruption in our post system of education. So, on behalf of those whose fondest hope is a day when prosperity is the companion of all, I am Robert F. Morris, and my people, together we move.
Robert, I'm sorry, Mr. Morris, thank you very much for your excellent message and your detailed explanation. We're going to move on to the panelists, starting with Stanton to begin his first question for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Richardson. And again, welcome, Mr. Morris. It's good to have you. Let's know more about you and give Liberian the time and the chance to learn more about you. Mr. Morris, you work under the Madam Salif government. You work under the Madam Salif government as deputy director at the Rabat International Airport. I have two questions. Dr. Richardson, are we allowed to ask two questions? When I'm not hearing you.
Okay, I wanted to start off with one question to give everybody a chance to go around. Ahead, if your question is interrelated, you can go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, just if I can, let me just ask the question real quickly. Mr. Morris, talk to us about your stay here in the United States. Where did you attend school? Where did you work? Why year? What? I understand that you have this foundation that you care for folks, but let's talk about America a little bit. And my second question will have to do with the airport, while you were at the airport. Where did you attend your college or your university? Where did you work? We're not hearing you, Mr. Morris. Hold on 1 minute. I see Paco in the back. We're not hearing Mr. Morris. Are we good, Councilor Paco? Can you hear us? Dr. Richardson, you can hear me, right? You're muted, Dr. Richardson. Can you unmute?
I can hear you loud and clear. Mr. Morris, are you hearing us? Can you just give me the thumbs up? Okay, can someone in the studio please adjust the microphone for Mr. Morris?
No, I think they are working on.
Okay. Yes, I see the guy moving. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yes. Did you hear Stanton's
Can
question?
you hear me now?
Yes,
I'm hearing you.
we can hear you.
All right, so you want me to repeat my question?
Please do. Please repeat your question, Stanton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Mr. Morris, my question is: talk to us about your stay here in the United States. I mean, your college or university days, and where did you attend? Number one. Number two, what was your job here in the United States? Trying to connect that with Liberia. I think we have an in-studio issue. Fagon, you hearing me, right? Mo, can you hear us?
I'm hearing you. I
I'm
think
hearing
Mo himself.
All right. Again, let me call someone from the studio. Can Councilor Paco talk to us? If he's in studio, you have his number. Aaron, are we good?
Peter.
You what?
The computer was freezing, so we're trying to restart it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so Dr. Rich is in there restarting the computer. Can we move on then? So we can get Mr. Morris back?
Sure. You heard Mr. Morris speak about his platform here. You know, he spoke about resetting Liberia's relationship with the United States. He spoke about anti-corruption issues. He spoke about education system, healthcare, agriculture, infrastructure, and lastly, drugs. So those are issues of concern to him. I'm just kind of waiting to ask questions. I don't know.
I know, but let's say something. Yeah, let's say more. I'm kind of concerned because I'm calling you.
Can you hear us?
Now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Come on in.
We're back on.
Yes.
Okay,
great.
thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
So let's bring in.
Yeah. So can I go ahead and answer your question, Stanton?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I went to school. I finished high school in Baltimore, Calvert Hall College High School, and then I went on to the University of Maryland, where I graduated. Like I said, business degree in business administration. I was a licensed realtor in Maryland. I specialized in foreclosures and many other products. I also started my NGO, the Uplift Foundation, which is still running till today. And I started to travel back and forth to home during those years. I also worked at the Reagan National Airport in DC before I was appointed to come here and serve as deputy of the Roberts International Airport, Liberia Airport Authority.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. What was your job title at the Reagan National Airport?
I worked for Piedmont Airlines. That's actually U.S. Airways. I was a supervisor at Piedmont Airlines.
All right, so let me go back to Liberia. I will come back. There's the reason I'm asking you on that note, but to give the others the chance to ask questions, since it's already 9:46 in Liberia. Were you ever offered, or did you ask? Were you ever called for the job under this government, this CDC-led government?
No. No, I was not.
Oh, can we? What? Did someone from the CDC government ask you whether you wanted to work at the airport?
No.
Okay. Why you lie?
It just, I don't know where the question coming from, but you know what I mean? Instead of nobody's ever asked me that. Clearly somebody must have told you something, but no, it's not true. Nobody's ever asked me to work there.
Okay, let me give the others a chance and I will come back.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Fagon. Mr. Fagon, your question, please. And then we'll go to Councilor Bakwa, and then we'll go to Moali.
How are you, Mr. Morris?
Doing excellent. Honorable Fagon, how are you doing today?
Today, my girls have their birthday, and I'm here serving the Liberian people. So
Happy
That's two of them.
See some of the cake.
Yeah, we have to do the sacrifice, but I'll be running here in a little bit. But every candidate that comes here, I usually help them by being the bad guy, because I know that is exactly what they will have to face. So I help them with it so that they better prepare themselves for it. Tell us and tell the Liberian people, you have got some brilliant ideas, some brilliant things on your platform. I'm sure if you didn't do anything, even if that 10 people last night from your video, you managed to sway them. And that is important for any campaign. But there's something that I want to ask you that I believe is going to be front and center. Tell us what happened to the airport involving the $1 million saga that had to do with Bility and the whole corruption saga that landed in court during your administration serving as deputy for administration at the airport. Tell us what you know or what actually happened that had all of you embroiled into this thing somehow, some way.
You said $1 million saga?
Yeah, at the airport, the Liberian Airport Authority, involving Bility, who was later, the court dropped the charges against him. It involved Kokum, all of them. Everybody was just mixed up. We never had no head, no tail. But it was the government who brought the charges. And we were like, how can the government charge its own people? But then later the court, we saw from newspaper clippings that the court cleared Bility, but that thing still remained lingering. And you being at the airport, tell us what you know, or tell us how it went down, or whether it was supposed to be or not.
I don't know too much about it. I know that, there was an investigation. I know we were, after that entire saga, we were, invited to the Justice Ministry, the late Justice, what's his name? Chiru, I think it was.
Frederick W. Chiru.
Frederick Chiru, under his administration. And but I didn't know much about it. That was at a higher level. It was above my pay grade. It was at the managing director and upwards. So I wasn't involved in it at all. I don't have any knowledge of. I just carried out my function, and I didn't have anything to do with that, which is why you probably didn't get my name in any of it.
You being the deputy for administration is why I'm asking, because you handle the day-to-day affairs relative to administering the airport. So documentations, finance, operations, and what would necessarily pass through your office. And that is why I'm asking, because I believe they're going to throw this mud at you. You will have to say something about it at some point in time during your campaign. I think that's the only thing I think will dog your campaign. That's the only thing we know about you so far, apart from your foundation. But relative to Liberia, you were at the airport when this whole saga went amok. And if you say your name won't measure and not much to do about it. But if you went through the investigation, what were the investigators looking for and what happened?
Well, they asked us pretty much the same question you're asking. And my answer was the same. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't know it was above my level. All of those issues that you heard about were above my level. I had nothing to do with it. There was nothing assigned. There was nothing that passed through me. Things were nothing went through me. Everything that went through me was standard. As you know, at any sort of public SOE, we get audited every year. And there was nothing. I didn't have any knowledge of anything that was going on. All of that was beyond me. So that's how come, like I say, we went to the Justice Ministry, but there was no help for them because I didn't have any information on anything.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor Bakwa.
Mr. Morris, thank you for coming, and let me express my sympathy on the issue of your mom. You said the last time you saw her was in 1990, and I don't know whether you know actually what happened to her after you saw her last. But presumably something wrong happened. So my sympathy for that loss. I don't know whether I missed it, But did you say anything about accountability for the war era or crimes?
Be specific.
I mean, I'm asking you whether you said anything. I don't know whether I missed it in your 7 point.
I didn't say anything about that.
Okay, so what do you think about holding people accountable for what happened to your mom?
Well, I don't think it's a question of, I guess the question you're asking is whether I think there should be, some sort of process held for people who committed crimes during the war. I feel, hey, I'm one who, our country's system says you're innocent until proven guilty. I think everybody should be given a chance to prove themselves innocent. That's my belief.
So the question I ask is, do you think there should be a process to hold people accountable for the horrible things they did during the wartime era of Liberia? There is a debate in this country about implementing the TRC recommendations on war crimes for certain people and generally setting up a war and economic crimes code. What are your views on those issues?
I think people should be held accountable. I think people should be held accountable for anything. Everything you do, you should be held accountable. If people are not held accountable, then you lose, you get off track. People should be held accountable.
But do you think it's important? Is there a reason why you left that out among your 7 counts? What do you classify wartime accountability and economic crime? What do you classify?
Those two things, wartime accountability and economic crime, I will separate them.
Yeah.
Because economic crime continues. The war has been for a period now. I mean, it's, we're almost several generations out of the war now. Accountability for the war, hey, yes, people should be held accountable. There are certain crimes you committed, I think people should be held accountable for. Okay. In terms of economic crimes, yes, like I told you, part of my platform is fighting corruption. We should be seen to be very strong and serious about fighting corruption. And that is something that is continuous. As far as the war, this debate that's going on, let's be clear. Yes, if you want to bring the war crime code, I'm for it. Again, like I said, I think people should be able to clear their names. But I don't drive forward looking backwards. I think we need to start to look forward. Okay. There's so much else that we need to do as a nation, building our children's education, their health, their sanity, okay, our agriculture. There's so much. We talk about power. Imagine right now not being able to have affordable power where a lot of people are. Those are the things. There's so many issues and that can be addressed so simply if you just put the right people in the right places and you have the political will. We are one of the wealthiest countries in the world, not in terms of natural resources. Yeah, we got the natural resources, but we're one of the wealthiest countries in terms of our human resources, the capacity. Okay, just on this platform right now, we have a wealth of human resource. Those are the things that I want to focus on. I want to focus on going forward. Should we close that chapter? Yes, but I'm not able to look back and move forward. So I think we need to decide and let's stop poking this thing with a stick. Let all get together and decide and say, look, this is what we're doing, we move on. But this business of this dark cloud just lingering over here, every year we ask and then nothing happens. Let's just decide, pull the trigger on it. Yeah.
So let me ask the last question. If you're successful in your run for president, would that be on your agenda for the establishment of a war crimes code on one hand and an economic crime code on another hand? Would that be on your agenda?
It has to be. As president of the nation, that has to be. It's an important enough issue. It has to be. But the way I deal with things is I put things that have to be done. I have a to-do list and we address it and we move on. I don't let things linger. My desk is always clear. You put something on my desk, we attend to it, and then we move. This business of having things that just linger and linger and linger, it helps nobody. So will it be on my agenda? Yes, we deal with it. There's nothing to be scared of. People make that thing look like some kind of boo man. I'm not boo man. Deal with it and move. We're wasting our time here. We got children there who ain't in school, children there living in gray out there. We say talking about war counting and having more 18 years. Get done with that thing and let's move on. Let's move on. We got plenty to do in the country. We're going to be fine. Well, our children are going to Ghana to take pictures anymore. articles to buy and food in supermarket. Then we say talking about water. Like, move on. Rwanda, then I go there, find place, Google, all kind of place. Rwanda, why do I go smarter than all? Yes, it'll be on my agenda with Henry, but I'm not coming to waste my time. I plenty of water and business. Let's deal with it. Most of them not die, sir. Most of them not die. They me do them. So let's deal with them and move. I'm not going to waste my time, I think, Chief.
Thank you. Let's go to Moali, please.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, let me firstly say I am impressed by your platform and your video and everything. And the sad story you explained about your mother. I am one person who believes, like my own standard bearer, that with all of the fine platforms, we can implement them only if we begin with truth telling. And I believe that is the beginning of fighting corruption. I believe you were a kid when you explained and your mother called you one day and said, hey, you got to leave the country. And she drove you to the airport and you were on the plane bound in New York. And then in Maryland, you completed high school, went to college and everything. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. I know that it is not common for a kid, to just be called by the mother and say, come go to America, and the mother did not go with you, and you went there and went to school and graduated. Do you hold an American passport?
I do not. I have never held any other passport in my entire life, and I will never hold any other passport in my entire life until the good Lord called me. I have not, and I have access to hold plenty of different passports, but it would never happen. Not this round, Morris.
So when you were playing and your mother called you and say, hey, come, you got to leave Liberia, it was on the visa. Visiting visa.
This was in 1990.
My next question.
I was born in Dusa, Firestone, D10, Division 10. I was born in Dusa Hospital. I'm a Liberian.
No, I'm not arguing. I just wanted to get things clear because, I when we were coming up, we see the American thing, going to America as a very big thing. And, it was not just common, you just be playing your magic and say, hey, Rob, come go to the States because the war is coming. That was my curiosity I wanted to satisfy.
All right, let me clarify to you. Let me give you a little bit of context.
Yeah, that would be good.
I told you it was sometime in May, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went at the time I was going to the high school for ELWA. They had just established a high school. It was called the West African Christian High School. It was right there in Thinkers Village, where they used to have, you remember Banana Republic? That road going in.
Mm-hmm.
All the way to the end. In fact, I drove down there the other day. I still saw it in somebody's yard, but I still saw our basketball court. And if you go all the way down that road, you will see the school buildings are still there. That school was on the American school system. So we were on a different system from the Liberian school system. So we were coming towards our school vacation. So every summer, we will either go to Europe or you go to America. So the reason I had a visa was because we were already coming towards the end of the school year. We usually had a visa anyways to come to the States. And it wasn't that I was playing, I was coming from school. I came from school and she said, hey, you have to leave today. And that's how I left. That's why I had a visa at the time, because it was May 22nd, I believe. So school was just in a couple of weeks, school was closing. I remember that year they ended school early. In fact, we had an augmented yearbook. So that's how come I had a visa.
So that brings me to my second question. I I know normally prior to the war, the school system ran from March to December, basically. I'm a little confused when he says school was closing in May. Was that school running on different calendar than the Liberian school system at the time, or what?
Yeah, we're running on a different calendar. So that's why I say, in Liberia at the time, you had an American school system, and people who went to American schools like EFWA or ACS, they went according to the American school system, where America has their summer in May, June, and they start school back in September, October. So when even though we're in Liberia, that's the system we were on. So while everybody was on vacation in December, we were on vacation in May, June.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know we're going to give saying because you on Spoon, and I never met you before. I really don't know you, but I like to know you even more, like a lot of Liberians out there. Help me. Oh, your father, your mother. Can you give us a little history about your parents? Who were they in the government?
Say that again.
Can you give us a little history about your parents at the time during normal days?
Real normal days, right? Yeah. So my father, like I say, is an agronomist. He's still alive. He was he went to high school here, and then he went to college in the States, A&T University. And my mother also went to high school here, and she went to college in the States, Bennett. If anybody familiar with A&T and Bennett, you know they're right across the street from each other in North Carolina. They were actually there when they had the student sit-in movement, the civil rights movement, and which started there. The students from the girls from Bennett and the boys from A&T. When my father explained the story, he said, "My man, I was hiding under the bed where African students and some of the other African students want to participate during the time of Jesse Jackson." Okay.
What's your father's full name and your mother's full name, please?
My father's full name is Johnny Johnson Morris. My mother's full name is Ramona Eo Morris. So they both went to school there. They graduated. My father was hired in the States by Firestone. At the time, they were headquartered in Akron, Ohio. And they moved back to Liberia, and they came back to Firestone. And he started working there. He was one of the, few first Black senior managers at Firestone, and that's how we all.
So let's go back to the question Mo asked, Mr. Morris. So the school you attended at the time, every student in that school were given visa to travel to the United States?
The visa was not given by the school. The visa was given by my parents.
Okay, so that's what I want you to make clear. And I think Mo Ali asked a beautiful question. So you, at the time, your parents had already, it's something was coming from your family. It have nothing to do with the school, but your father was privileged to have you guys travel back and forth, right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Yeah. I just needed that clarity. Thanks.
Yeah.
You are muted, Dr. Richardson.
Mr. Jeru, your question, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. Thank you very much. I'm going to be asking questions based on my to do as a journalist, not as any political person here. And I want to verify one or two things before I make sure I have your federal timeline in front of me. I want to make sure that it is correct. Your date of birth is April 1st, 1981. Am I correct?
You are not. I don't know where you're getting that information from. Negative.
Okay. If it is not correct, then I have a different Robert Frank Morris in front of me. So, did you live in Arizona?
Negative.
Okay. It's a different rubber frank. I'm being very. I saw a lot of stuff. That's why I'm trying to verify that before.
It's a very common name.
Yeah, I believe so too. So the question that you let me ask you earlier, I just wanted to go back to it. I think I'll just ask one question. When you're talking about not look, does that mean you intend to sweep whatever is in the past under the rug just because you want to move forward?
All right, let me be clear, crystal clear.
Yeah.
I told you the way I like to address issues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a task manager. We have an issue, we address it, and we move forward.
Okay.
Okay. This business, and this in reference to this War Economic Crime Code, I feel it has lingered for too long.
Okay.
Put it on the table, take a decision, and move on. But you cannot have something continue to just linger. That's what I said. Not that I want to sweep anything under the rug. No, I don't leave anything.
How do you think we can deal with it? How do you think it can be dealt with? The president, the legislature, or a Liberian conference? How do you think it can be dealt with?
I think we just have, if you have the political will, and the president has to be part of it, of course the legislature will have to be part of it also. But if we make it an agenda item and we say, look, this is something that we have to address to move forward, then we address it, take a decision on it, and move forward.
Okay. I'm done. I'm done here. And the profile I have here, it doesn't resemble you. So I will just say
the profile you got a webman profile.
Thank
the
you.
man that blamed me for Labra. But
Let me ask. Can I ask my two questions? I was waiting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, presidential aspirant Robert Morris. I'd like to ask you. You presented a very good platform. I really like the practicality of it. You talked about resetting the relationship to the U.S. Preventing corruption, education, making teachers training is one of the highlights. Although there were other things you said. Healthcare, advancing our healthcare system to the more modern healthcare system compared to what we have. You talk about increasing our power grid because that's the number one kind of key thing. I'm gonna go. There is a person called Zeus Carter who's watching this show, and I took his question. He said, "How do you intend to pay for all of this great program, conversation about bringing in these great things to our country? How do you intend to pay for it?"
We have most all the money that we need right here. Like I told you, when I worked at the airport, we had to do a $28 million runway overlay for a business that's probably $10 million there, plus or minus. Our diaspora population in the US, you guys, if you look at the records, you pump into Liberia directly $370 million every year. Our budget is around $700,000+. That's 1/3 of our national budget. With the entire diaspora, including Australia, Canada, all those places, almost over $450 million. We have monies in our budget here that we can do. Now, let me be very specific. The hows, which is what you're probably asking.
Mm-hmm.
I will take one specific item. Now I say, people say in the first 100 days, but I tell you, we got more than 100 days because once the election is over, you have time to start working. If we look at, for instance, our county development funds, okay, we can start to apply our county development funds in every county because every county needs electricity. Without electricity, you cannot bring industries here. The Dr. Richardsons of the world, the Eugene Fagons, Honorable Eugene Fagons, the Stanton Witherspoons, will not be able to come here because your bottom line will be shot if we don't have electricity. If we just started to apply our county development funds to something like producing these poles, like I say, to start the distribution network to bring electricity into each of these counties, starting with the government centers. Okay, immediately you start to employ people on that basic level. Now, I know a lot of different things happening with our county development funds. One of the issues we have in Liberia is that our people are not educated to the point where they understand the relationship between us and, you know, our legislators and other appointed officials. The legislators, our senators, our representatives, they are our employees. They work for us. But there's this notion you have in Liberia that we work for them. Like I tell people, I say, when people go and there's this uproar right now about some money they sign or whatever, look, if your driver or whatever employee you got came to, you know, your home and one day your driver came to work and he tell you, say, well, Oma, I went to pay last night, I decided the morning I increasing, I doubling my pay. He'll be like, really? And so who's gonna pay that? This is a situation we have. We are the employees who employ these people, but we don't hold them accountable because people just don't know. In my classes that I teach, is a whole segment there that I work through with my students to teach them what's the relationship. And we start to learn how to write letters to our caucuses and ask them questions and hold their feet to the fire. But it's tough. That's why education is important, because if we don't educate people, you have people not even knowing how to vote or what to vote for. So where the money will come from, it will come from right here. We have all of the resources we need right here. I told you about our road fund. Why are we suffering to build roads? Ring fence a portion of that, go to a bank. The bank will provide all the money we sign, those payments that come in, and we leave a portion for to run it administratively, and let's build all of our roads. Get competent contractors and build them, and make sure you get good owner engineers to cover it and make sure we're getting, you know, value for our money. So the money, resources that we need are right here. We know that. We know how much spillage there is. So it's right here.
Thank you, Presidential Aspirant, Mr. Morris. I want to go to my second question. One of the first things you said was you would like to reset the relationship with the United States. In recent year, the United States put 3 public officials that in Liberia that are in Liberia on the Magnitsky Act listing. That is us actually in the news today. How do you think this would impact resetting the relationship with the United States? We got 3 public officials who are put on the Magnitsky Act listing for corruption and also using government funds inappropriately, including pay for play. How do you think this is going to be a problem for resetting our relationship with the United States?
Well, I don't think that would be a problem in terms of foreign policy. So my government's foreign policy, that will not affect it. I think those individuals, I think we owe them as a country the opportunity for them to clear their names. That is what I think we owe them. Again, you know, like what Mr. Jiru was speaking about, some of these things just need to be addressed. You know, we have too many things lingering and festering. Address the issue. You accuse somebody or something, give the people a chance, let them go and clear their names. Because what happens, it just lingers. And then it becomes hearsay, and then it just go and go and go, and then you go, and then they come back again, and then somebody else has to deal with it. It has to be dealt with. You can't dodge work. Anytime you try to do dodge work, you will do double work. So I think they should be given an opportunity to clear their names in terms of resetting our relationship. That's a foreign policy agenda item. That will have people that's been sanctioned. I don't think that will stop us. In fact, I know it will not stop us from resetting our relationship with the United States. You know, I think the ball's in our court now. These people, I'm sure all of these people really want to clear their names, and they should be given that opportunity so they can clear their names. I mean, I've read in some of the papers where they are anxious to clear their names. Some of them say, no, it's not true. The only way you can clear your name fully, you have to go through due process. And I think they should be given that opportunity. But in terms of resetting our relationship, no, that's a foreign. We should just set the foreign policy. This is the agenda item. This is what we have to do, and we start working with it using the regular channels and going through it diplomatically. And it's not something difficult to do. Dr. Richards, I'm sure you're aware that it's not that difficult. Of course, we have to behave like, mature adult people, like a mature adult country. We are 176 years old. We held all these people's hands to get their independence. A lot of people tell me that were in government a long time ago, a lot of delegations didn't do it from in West Africa or the entire African region. They didn't do anything until the Liberian delegation arrived. The Liberian delegation had to arrive to show them what to do and say, okay, this is the direction we're going in. We're 176 years old. We need to move forward. We need to grow up.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Stanton next and then to the panel, to the team. As you can see, we are running behind time here. We are having a good conversation with you, but we will come to a close at least about 6:30, 6:35 with this conversation to go into other conversations. I want to thank you for being here, but I just wanted to make a point before I go to Stanton. Part of the stipulation of the Magnitsky Act says that those that are on the list cannot transact business with the United States government. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there that whoever you put in your government may experience some limitation, especially if these people, even though they're going through due process, but if they're in your government. I just wanted to put that out there. But Stanton, go ahead. Please, something to
thank you.
Ponder about. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Morris. This is very hard for me, but I'm too quiet today. I don't know why. You brought that kind of spirit that it's like I'm on a restriction here.
While we're in the office listening, you were having a very spirited. I mean,
yeah, but it's not.
What kind of day I can hear? I mean,
Mr. Morris, please keep it that way. Don't get this list started.
If I go quiet, if I go too quiet, I'm quiet. More I did quiet. Councilor policy is quiet. But anyway, let me see.
Explain why you quiet. I'm not quiet. I'm observant.
No, I am quiet because somebody is on my neck. The managing director, CEO, Titi Kana is on my neck. But I would say it like that. But listen, Mr. Morris, on a very serious note, though, my question I asked you first, you took a few seconds and you joke or you laugh and you said, but where that question coming from? Well, yeah. Did you work as a consultant for CDC government?
Never.
Okay, so now.
Look, and that you're not the first person to ask me that question. Now, there was a period in time where there were some challenges that they were having, okay, at the airport. And unofficially, it wasn't any government official, but there were people who was unofficially, some people came and reached out to me and say, hey, would you be willing to provide some advice because we're having a tough time? And the people there having a tough time. These were not CDC government officials. They were just people I knew in common. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are in CDC, lots. But they were not
so Miguel, and so let me be that right, because we were in Washington, D.C., your name came up. Mm-hmm. When Miguel and Senator visited Washington, D.C., and at the time, we went to Washington, D.C. when this whole thing about the airport problem started. That's why I'm asking you. And I was going through my phone to find some of the text messages. So I want to give you the chance to explain. Did they ask you for your advice? Did you consult in a way that you got paid or you were rewarded some way somehow? Talk to us about your relationship with the George Manawiya government.
Never. I have never received a penny from this government. Never, officially or unofficially. McGill or Twer, I don't even know them. You can go to
whosoever asks you, what did you do for the government without pay? Or
nothing.
Did you tell them no?
No, I didn't tell them no. It was a friend, and the friend came to me, and this was somebody who had been at the airport. I mean, I'm not going to mention his name yet because he probably don't want me to mention, but he's a good friend of mine. He's a seditian, and they were very troubled because people are not getting paid, and there were a lot of other things going on, and especially with some of the systems at the airport. And they say, hey, would you be willing to assist? And I told him, I said, of course. I said, I see as a duty to the country. The airport is close to my heart. Interestingly enough, my mother worked at that airport also. My mother used to work at that airport, as a deputy also, interestingly enough. And so for the airport, it was legacy for me. I mean, and so I said, yeah.
So you said yes. Then what happened?
Nothing. They never came back. They never
came back.
Now, my understanding, and of course, they've reached out to me again. People who were not directly, they've reached out to me several times to try to help, but it's never, come to fruition. I mean, I've been there. I'm open. I'm willing. I've always been willing to help. I don't, that CDC party thing, I don't have that thing. When I worked at the airport, I gave everybody contracts. I work with everybody. I didn't ask you whether you were a sedition or Liberty Party person. No, I didn't have time for that thing because we're all Liberians. After October 11 or when the second round finished, you see, we should reset and go back to all being Liberians. I remember a time in America when we first got there, and you will be in a supermarket, you hear Liberian accent.
I understand. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but because the other guys got to come on, I hope we can have you back again because let me ask you my last question on this, though. Great President George Manneh, we are government. Why you want to replace President Weah?
Well, I don't look at it so much as replacing. When people say that, I laugh sometimes because there's going to be a point in time when the National Election Commission, people say, oh, they may want to take the senator job, or they're going to declare every seat vacant. So you're vying for an open seat.
This seat is not. But I'm asking why you, Mr. Morris, want to replace. Why you want to replace President Weah? What is he doing so horribly that you think you can do better?
It's not so much what he's doing so horribly, it's what I think I can do so well. Okay, I'm a strategist, I'm a task manager. I believe that if you just get in, I'm very pragmatic.
Have he done well for the nation? To you, have President George Weah performed well? Have he delivered for the Liberian people?
If George Weah has delivered for the Liberian people, October 10, the Liberian people will decide, including myself. For me to say I'm coming to create a government, I have to be able to go into all the different places. Are people happy with final on October 10th? That's when we know whether George Weah has done well or not. Believe you me.
So you don't know, you, Mr. Morris, you do not know if he has performed well.
I have my personal opinions about several sectors. You can look at different things, but overall or specifically,
talk to us about the different sectors you have your opinion on that you think he has performed poorly.
That I think he has performed poorly.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't think he has performed poorly. First of all, let me tell you this, Stanton. This business of where everybody can just focus on George Weah. Does George Weah have issues? Yes, but that's not where it stops. And that is what I teach my students. We have a leadership problem in this country. George Weah appoints somebody as minister. Who confirms them?
We will get to the lawmakers. We're not talking about George Weah. No. You cannot move the goalpost. So I'm not alone here, but I beg my guys for a few more seconds. We will talk about the lawmakers. We are talking about, my question is about President Weah. Where have he performed so poorly? Can you tell us?
I will have to think about that. I will have to think about that. But again,
you're running for the highest office in the land. You have never thought of it. Then you're telling us today you will have to think about it for 6 years. You cannot tell us now.
I am telling you that I am running for the highest office because I have items that on my agenda that I think I can do great at.
Why have President Weah have performed so poorly, sir? Can you tell us right now? Because you declare long since you've been watching George Weah for almost 6 years. So why have he performed so poorly? Why can't you say something?
Well, I can say something. I mean, like I say, my approach to this is not personalizing it. I don't. We're going to decide on October 10th. There's a lot of things I'm sure that are not the best. There's some things that are okay, but for me to come and say I'm coming to critique and say this, no, I want to.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on. Thank you, Dr. Richardson.
Mr. Fagon, let's move on to you.
Well, I don't know what to say now because my brother is running to be president, but my brother is insinuating that President Weah has not done anything wrong. I mean, so my question then to him would be there is a guy passing, and he hear you saying that you can't think of anything, you don't want to personalize anything, you don't see anything wrong, the Liberian people will have to decide. And the guy passes by and look at you and say, but then why should I remove the guy? $140 million worth of drugs in 6 weeks entered the country. $11 million was given to business people to import rice. It disappeared. $24 million got lost from our road funds money. $30 million for the stimulus package. We cannot account for it. People who made $150 when you work in the government are now making what? $45. Gasoline under you was $3.50. Under him is $5.20. Bag of rice when you work was $13, and you made so much money. Today, a bag of rice is $22. Why are you coming to replace this guy if he has done nothing wrong? My question is straightforward. Why do you want to replace His Excellency, President, Dr. George Manuel Weah, former world best, former European best, 3-time African Player of the Year, Ballon d'Or winner? Why do you want to replace the current president if in your mind he has done nothing wrong and you don't see where you can criticize him? Why do you want to replace him?
Okay, so let me go to you and Stanton so that we can get past this thing. Okay, let's cut to the chase, because I know as he Stanton, he will not rest. And I watch Spoon play. Let's cut to the chase.
Yeah, because my 30 million for stimulus gone.
Let me talk. And you talk
10 million for the rest is gone.
Let me talk my own.
People are making
When I listen
for the fire.
If I listen, Baba, give me tell that.
I give you chance. What's this? What's this? From $150 to
that's that toy. Oh, if he said, well, let me
finish. If I still not eat this, all be yes, sir.
No, let it be here. Listen. The first thing is paying people. Okay. This business of people not getting paid on time. Okay, y'all want me to critique things? We need to address that. That's basically the first thing. We need to start paying people. I think this government has had an issue with that. Okay, payment. We have to start paying people. Competency. I think we have to start putting the right people in the right places. We don't have enough of the right people in the right places. Okay. Yes. In Stanton Ray, I know where he coming from. I know where he getting at. And you were forcing me. Okay, we'll reach there. Yes, it's the president at the point is the Senate that's supposed to approve it. But you have to start with good material. You gotta start putting the right people in the right places. Because as someone who has ran many businesses, I can tell you, personnel is the most important thing. If you don't get that right, you can have all the money in the world, it will go through it like a sieve. Okay. A lot of the issues we are facing in this country today is because of that. So yes, those are issues that we have to address. Those are issues that have to be corrected. And we've had long enough time to correct some of those issues. We cannot continue to play a blind eye or to bury our heads in the sand. So those two issues off the bat are issues that I think need to be addressed and haven't been done properly and haven't been done well. Mr. Witherspoon.
Yes, sir.
Did I answer your question now?
Well, thank you very much. I mean, we will still have you back another day, so we can give the guys.
Whether you are scared, you are scared.
Scared of who?
Oh, okay. I thought you were scared.
Fagon.
I thought you were scared.
They get banamene and more banamene. Banamene.
But I make it top there.
You call it Jalo.
Yeah, but let's just bring in Gibson, Mo Ali, and Councilor Lamy because it's 6:32.
Yeah, Councilor Lamy comes in, and then Mo Ali, and then Gibson.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I was a little bit taken aback by Mr. Morris's decision to always skirt the issue of evaluating the current government, because I had two questions actually, to ask about evaluating the current government and evaluating the government he served in. But it was like, going every day, like when somebody goes to the dentist and the person doesn't want the dentist to operate. I came across like, trying to skirt the issues and stuff like that. Someone asked on the live feed, I think it's Frederick Valu Hunter, why don't you have an American passport?
I didn't want it. I have a Liberian passport. I'm a Liberian.
Wait, can you elaborate? Can you elaborate?
How will elaborate? I didn't want an American passport. I want any other passport. I want my Liberian passport. I respect that passport too dearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about the government that you serve in. Did you serve during the entire 12 years, or you served a portion of that period? Was it second term, first term, or the entire 12 years?
No, I started serving in 2010.
Okay, so it was beginning of the end of this first term, and then up to the end of the second term.
Correct.
What's the evaluation of that second term? If you had to compare that second term to what we have now, what would you say?
It had a set of challenges. I think we could have done a lot more. There were things that we could have done, better. I would have preferred, like I said, I'm a task manager. I like for things to happen in a more robust fashion. So yeah, there were some things that definitely, and that is with any government. But I think for a country like Liberia, if we start putting the right people in the right places, holding them accountable, we can get so much more done in such a short period.
So were the right people not in the right places doing that?
We have some of the right people in the right places, but in politics, you have to have political will. You have to have political will. And,
okay, let me ask you one last question. Mrs. Salif said she was taking responsibility for what happened at Nukal. If you were to become president, do you think it would be necessary to prosecute all of them for that Nukal thing?
I don't know exactly what happened. What happened at Nukal?
You asking me what happened at Nukal, or you don't
specifically when you say the Nukal?
Moniz got missing at Nukal, and she said she was taking responsibility for it. Nukal went bust.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and she said she was taking responsibility. So, if I want people to, if they should be prosecuted,
yeah. Do you think those people would be held accountable if you president? Will you hold them accountable?
Everybody should be held accountable.
How will you go about doing that? Because they may argue statute of limitations, stuff like that.
It depends how our legal system works, but people should be held accountable for everything they do. I was clear earlier. People should be held accountable for everything they do. If you don't do that, you get on a slippery slope. Once you don't hold people accountable, you get on a slippery slope.
So your colleagues in the Salif administration, because Eugene asked you about the situation at RIA, the money saga, the corruption saga that happened at RIA. You said you didn't know anything about it, even though you were in administration there. And it was like you said you went to justice and they asked you a question, you didn't know anything about it, and that was it. I mean, it really sounds far-fetched that you sit at in an office where you're the second person in that office and you don't know anything about the bad things happening in the office. How come?
But that's why it happened.
I mean, were you intentionally blind?
That's why it happened, because it didn't go through the normal system. That's why it happened, because it didn't go through the normal system. Had they followed the normal procedures, it wouldn't have happened, but it didn't go through the normal system. And that's how I didn't know anything about it. That's why I didn't have anything about it. We had systems there that were not being followed. So that how come I didn't know anything about it.
And no negligence of yours caused that.
Of course not. I told you, I said, you get my name nothing.
No, but your name doesn't have to be in it for you to be negligent.
No, but I was not. I'm telling you, there are documents you can go and verify and check. Investigations were done, correct? Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay, Mo.
I find it difficult.
Yeah, Councilor Bagoy, Mr. Morris, I'm sorry. We are not delving much into your platform. That is because before we go into the platform, we need to get certain things clear. I will start off from where Eugene Fagon ended. It is almost inconceivable to think that the president is doing well You cannot grade him, but yet you want to remove him. In my pedestrian knowledge, in my waterside argument, if somebody is doing well, you leave them there and help them to improve. In your opinion, President Weah has done nothing wrong. He's doing well. That the answer to Councilor Bagwell's question, you cannot even compare and contrast between his regime and the administration you work for. Why then do you want to be president?
But who do you say I can
remove him?
More, you know, you can't do that. And in my opinion, I say I didn't done anything. I didn't say that. What do put word in my mouth? Whoa, you know me well, so that one can work with me. I didn't say the president is doing well. I did not say that. Stanton asked a question. And I was trying to not be confrontational. Like I say, my thing is I want to sell myself. Okay. I want to sell myself, but I haven't. That's why I was clear with Fagon. I don't have no fear or favor about telling you what things are. That I couldn't compare or contrast the two administrations. No, I didn't say that. Of course you can compare and contrast. There's no who in a right mind will not be able to compare and contrast. You say that what you're going through now is better than what we're going through. No, of course not. Why were people asking me and coming to me and asking me and say, hey, can we help out with the airport or can we help out with different? No. So no, I didn't say I can't compare.
Let me come like this.
That
I watched your video. Yeah. I watched your video. Mm-hmm. And some of the pictures in your video depict some of the bad things that are happening in this country.
Correct.
At this moment.
Correct.
Those are the things you want to change.
Correct.
That would tell me that this president has not done well for Liberia. That this country is backward because we have a bad government. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Mr. Gibson.
Gibson.
You're done, right, Mr. Jeru?
Yeah, Mr. Morris, your answer to Stanton just shot yourself in the leg. And if my people in Grand Jada were to ask me to vote for you, I would tell them not to vote for you. You do not have any reason to replace George Weah, and therefore you can work with George Weah and improve on his lot. The way you answer questions, Liberian people can mischaracterize you. I'll give you one example. Mr. Cummings, today, everybody say, oh, he's a gay. I don't believe so. But the way he answered the question that Mamadi Diakate asked him, are you a gay? And he said, this is the lifestyle I have been struggling with. That made people to think that he's a gay, and they say every time. We don't have any evidence of that. The answer you gave to Stanton shows that you have no reason to contest this election. What are you going to do there? Nothing wrong is happening. You cannot say you want to replace a person and there's no clear distinction of what you want to do and what the person is not doing. In future interviews, please answer the question. Maybe we'll bring you back again. You answer the question more clearly and give us a tangible contrast. Number two, you say you were number 2 man at the airport. The Baba King go and say, you know that one. Let me ask you, did you decide to be blind? You choose to be blind. I cannot be in an office, wrong thing happening, and I say I don't know about it. It is a bad excuse. When you become president, the people will be stealing in your government. You will not know because you will choose to be blind. So you're not going to be president for Liberia. We will not vote for you. And people in Grand Jada, they are hearing me now. When you see the men, you're on Papa A. You can't be president. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask
I get one more question. I beg you. Just one more.
Yes, I want to make a comment. Mr. Jiri, I think it's important for you to ask that when Mr. Cummings was asked that question and he said, I struggle with that lifestyle, he was talking about the lifestyle, not his personal lifestyle. And I think
I understand that. I understand that.
I just wanted you to add that part because I think
that what he said, I understand completely what he was talking about.
But I think we need to educate
people now mischaracterize me. You agree with me, right?
Yes. Mischaracterizing. Correct. Thank you.
Mischaracterizing the main comments.
Stanton, we're gonna thank you. Stanton,
Yeah. One last question.
And then Mr. Presidential Aspirant, Mr. Morris,
Yes.
will then make his
final statement. Mr. Morris, thank you very much for coming on Spoon. Again, I hope we can have you again. A wonderful conversation. You know, when your video was played yesterday, and I knew you had this video since April, I went on, search, and on YouTube, the video is there. Over maybe 15,000 folks have watched that video. I asked the guys to share on our Spoon page. You know, you on that video, you presented yourself more. I'm thinking like Mr. Cummings. I saw something about Mr. Cummings in you. So I appreciate you being on the show tonight. But let me ask you my last question. Were you ever a Unity Party partisan?
Of course. When I ran in 2005, I ran on a Unity Party. I was a Unity Party partisan.
Are you still a Unity Party partisan?
No, I'm not.
Why not? Why?
I've left Unity Party many years ago now. We just had a difference in direction, and I left them.
You care to tell us why you have to change your mind? What's about Unity Party? 12 years with Madam Salif, it was okay. After Madam Salif, now you're saying no, you have a different mindset. Can you tell Liberians tonight?
I actually was not officially with Unity Party. I think towards the end of, I forget the exact time I left them, but it had to do with some policy directions, especially in the county. We had people that were not, really Unity partisans, and then they would leave the party. And I don't want to name names here. And the actual people who were doing the work, who were promoting the party, were being overlooked, and we weren't getting any, and you couldn't get any direction, and all the work we had done to build the party up. And so people were leaving when it was convenient. They will go, and then they will come back, and then they will, when it was convenient.
So did you leave prior to the 2017 election? Did you resign?
I had. Yeah, I think I left prior to the 2017 election. Yeah.
Did you vote? 2017 election.
Yeah,
did you vote for? Who did you vote for?
Gee, that one of my own vote now.
So let me finish. I know it's good. Let me end with my question. You are now running as an independent, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have your staff, chairman, manager? Can you name some of your folks? Your office, the location of your office?
My office is in Old Road. I have one in Dwazon also, the main one I will operate out of, right at Dwazon Turning Point. I have another one in Old Road around ACS. We have a staff, so we're not a party, so but we have an administrative structure similar to the party. We have people in different areas who run different
Who's
things.
your manager for the office?
Timothy Moba.
Timothy Moba.
Yeah.
You think the work of President we have for almost 6 years, where you work as deputy managing director, you think he have done a pretty good job at the Robert International Airport?
I haven't been to the Robert International Airport since I've been there, but from what I hear, people are complaining it's not good. And the main thing is pay. People are not getting paid on time. So no, there's a lot of issues.
You have not been at the Robert International Airport since you returned to the country?
Return from where?
Or from the United States, since you went back to the country, you have now traveled to the airport?
No, I haven't been there. I haven't been there for a long time. But what I'm saying is, no, I mean, there's a lot of challenges there, especially with salaries. Of course, people come to me because I work there. A lot of people come to me. But if you permit me, I want to go back to Gibson Giroux, and he telling
No, I beg you, I will permit you would do that, but one real quick, I beg you.
Okay.
You worked there as
Right.
deputy managing director. Your mother worked there.
Right.
The airport is our national gateway by air.
Right.
You're willing to become a president. Something you work here, you understand the system, but you have never ever say, I'm going to just take a ride to the airport and see what the people are talking about. For how long since you haven't never been to the airport?
When I say I've never been there, the question you're asking if I had assessed it, if I'm correct, is that what you're talking about?
Have President George Manner, we are done enough for the Rabat International Airport since you left?
No, we could have done much more. We could have done much more.
So have he performed poorly?
I wouldn't say poorly, but definitely not where we should be. He's performed. It's been bad. The airport.
What's your disappointment? What's your disappointment? I want to keep it right to the airport. What's your disappointment since you left?
Well, first of all, this, like I said, paying people on time. People complain about that. Outside of that, the specifics, I won't, know the technical side. But I would have loved to have seen that airport were on track. For instance, like we're on track to have a solar farm come to be at the airport to power, because power is one of the major issues at that airport that eats up a lot of the revenue. And attracting additional routes, additional airlines. Like I say, my dream is to make that place the next hub, being able to have direct.
How much were you given at the airport under Madam Serif government? How much was your administration given to build the airport, to help bring the airport up to this standard?
The terminal was, it was a lot. There was a lot of different amounts.
Can we talk about the 50 million?
The $50 million was for the terminal and $28 million for the run.
Under your administration, why you didn't do a better job? Why CDC pointing this back to you guys and say you squandered the 50 million? Under you, you were serving as a deputy managing director. How did you squander the 50 million?
When I first came to work at that airport, when you enter the terminal, okay, there were broken tiles, there was heat, and oftentimes, I don't know if you should come back during that time, you'll be welcome with the scent coming out of the bathroom. Okay. In a makeshift where used to be our old cargo facility that was just turned into a terminal building. When I left, we have a modern terminal, a modern cargo facility, overlaid runway, new navigational aids. So if anybody says that we squander it, then you don't know what you're talking about.
So CDC messed it up. Is that what you're saying? Because when you say when you left,
we definitely improved it,
but CDC messed it up. So why are you holding back? Why can't you say exactly? Why can't you draw the line? Why can't you just say, listen, we did X, Y, and Z, and the president came in and they messed it up? Why are you holding back? The Liberian people want to see the Liberian people want to see as a presidential material.
What I'm telling you is that if the question is we didn't do anything for the airport, no, we took the airport, we took it from where we didn't have a terminal to where we have a terminal, where we have overlay runway, we have nav aids, modern nav aids. Now, if you say that we messed it up, no, we didn't mess it up. That's where we took it. That's where CDC received it. That's where CDC received it. So you can't tell that we messed up the airport. No.
The system, CDC, we had a whole argument here. They gave you guys $50+ million. CDC said everything you guys left for them was messed up. The navigation system was the worst in the history of Africa, and it's still having problem. The whole system. And you are saying you know what? We do not have enough time. We hope to have you back. Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thank you very much.
So we're going to ask you, presidential aspirant, Mr. Robert Franz Morris, to give us your closing comments. And in your closing comments, if you want to address any other question or lingering questions,
Dr. Richardson, before you ask your asking for closing comment, can I ask one short question?
It says 52. We'll move beyond.
Just one.
Okay.
Mr. Morris, you surely was with the Unity Party. You were with the Unity Party. And according to what you explained, you left because of policy differences. And that would tell me that in the 2017 election, because of those policy differences, you definitely did not vote for the UP, and it will give me the inclination that you supported the CDC, and that's why you are very skeptical of critiquing the government. Am I right?
You are not right. I didn't support the CDC in the election. I can tell you that. I didn't support the CDC in 2017. Everybody know I didn't support the CDC. Even though I have my policy differences with the UP and more so stop, being facetious. I still supported the Unity Party. You know that. I supported differences. But that's how politics is. So no, I did not support the CDC. If I supported somebody, I support them openly. So all that thing where you're trying to do all the man with CDC, I'm not with CDC. Yeah, and CDC, I've never been with CDC. You say, Twitter and my were giving me, it's a lie. I've never been with CDC. That I don't want to critique them. Of course, I critique them. Everything I'm doing, everything in my platform is a critique of the government. Now, I don't believe that I want to be nitpicky about all of those things. But yes, this government has not done well. There's a lot of things that needs to be done better. Yes. And that's why we're here. Our country is in trouble. We need to save the country. It was clear. So that thing where Gibson Joe talking about you go to a Grand Jury pool. Let me bring Ledo Grand Jury and tell a Grand Jury pool not to vote for me and see why you're not vote for me. We need to do different in the country. We're 176 years. You think this is what we're supposed to be? Of course not. It's not. I can't say I'm coming to be beating people up and they're beating the government up, but the government hasn't done well. That's why we are here. That is why we are here, all of us. But my thing is to focus on what we need to do. This glass must be half full and not half empty. But I tell you about, you're scared to say that, you're scared of that. I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not scared of anything. We need to save this country. All of y'all know, I go in the market, you see what's happening, all these things in the country, but I understand we have a leadership problem. So let's stop doing all the game about all this. I will not know CDC, man. I've never supported CDC. Nobody in CDC has been friends with me to say they paid me or they did nothing. Let's be clear, crystal clear about that. Crystal clear. So whoever told Mr. Witherspoon that somebody will give me a contract, stand up, they lie. And you can, if you want to talk it on air, you can tell me privately, I will tell you that lie. I know where those things are coming from. That lie. I've never supported anybody. I've been willing to help my country. It's a civic duty that will help in any regard. Not because I'm not a citizen, I'm going to help the country, I would say no, but it hasn't happened. So let's call a spade a spade.
It's good to have you, Mr. Morris. Seriously, I hope we can have you more, man. I enjoy the program, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
I get when you thank you. I heard y'all making noise for it, then I just keep all of y'all get cool. And Mr. Gibson Jeru, please go to Grand Jide and tell your people that we're bringing light. Let there be light. They better vote for me. Okay, and support. I already have people working in Grand Jide, by the way. So I come in to talk to you. I see you, Conglo, Global Media. That way you're talking all kind of thing. You're pulling out vote for me. Some of them. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I have fun here tonight.
Thank you for that Misa. That Misa is too strong.
Thank you very much, Robert Morris. We are happy that you're able to make it into the studio to tell the Liberian people your views about changing Liberia. I appreciate your ambition, your spirit of ambition. It was clearly reflected in your presentation today. We need more young people like you coming up to speak up. So thank you for being here today. We hope to have you back. There's a lot more questions people seem to have. So think about it, and then we will discuss it more with you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
All of you having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. That's wow. That's good, man. Dr. Richardson, thank you. They're extremely well. We will be having Edith Gunglewe. Edith Gunglewe, the sister of Councillor Tewon Se Gonglo, will be in studio, not in studio. She's here in the United States, I believe, but she will be in studio by way of this means on Friday. On Friday, we'll be having a full discussion with Madam Edith Gunglewe. And also, I think we have another guest. I'm not going to listen to the CEO, Titi Kane and Dr. Richardson. Listen more, Ali. We got to come up with, I got to be me. You know, listen, I'm not hearing Mr. Jeru, but we got to speak. We got to answer some hard questions.
Sure.
You know, more. We can't sit there and be just quiet, man.
Yes.
But again, Edith will be our guest, and it will be a wonderful conversation because I would say this.
When the CEO vets, you will drive on for that tomorrow.
I know, right? The city vessel. But I see that you guys have to ask the questions that Liberians would like to ask, but they are not having the opportunity to be panelists on Spoon. So I thank you for asking those questions. You are sharpening the skills and the thought process of Mr. Morris. So I believe that he appreciates your interaction with him. And I'm sure he's going to come back even stronger and go out on his campaign even stronger. So, there's a Spoon. This is where you get Tenta Mwali, Councilor Gibson, if I'm going to ask me questions. So.
I want to set up
what man can be asking people like he crosses.
I really want us to have that time to really attack Councilor Pako and Gibson, because to tell you the truth, listen, I'm so mad today, but I'm going to leave my own go for today.
Why you want to attack us? Why you want to have time to attack us?
You guys are in error. You guys are not law abiding. For real, okay. I wish I was close to you guys. But we gotta wish Councilor, we gotta wish Mr. Wiyaka Peter, Wiyaka Peter, correct? Trust me.
Please, who is your candidate? Who can attack your candidate?
No, my candidate is the Liberian people.
Yes.
My candidate is the Liberian people.
Forget that we want to wish Mr. S. Wiyaka Peters, which is the uncle to Stanton Witherspoon, and the father of a very good friend of mine, Angela Peters. He was the former Assistant Minister of Defense for the Coast Guard Affairs, former Assistant Managing Director for the Veterans Affairs. He turns 85 today. He listens to our show a lot. So we want to wish you a happy birthday. And we also want to wish you many more blessings and long life.
I'm asking Diamond to put these pictures up because it is true. Mm-hmm. My father, dear ego, my father, best. My father and Wiyaka Peter, Uncle Peter, they did some stuff during the youth. Trust me, it's a bloodline thing. But as he celebrated his 85, we gotta put the picture up. Diamond, please get it ready. Listen, indeed, and to his daughter, to his children, we want to wish all of them well because he's a good man. And I know this also will be coming from the Councilor Toba Yenswa saying he's greeting, because I got Toba Yenswa puppet as well, to tell you the truth. Toba Yenswa, trust me, they are the Methodist people. When these people when they get around Mo Ali and they start singing dio 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 dio, then you know Methodist Church, that Methodist Church. So we got to wish him well. And again, we got to say happy birthday to him from his children, Angeline, and the rest of the children. We want to say happy birthday to him.
As we wait for Aaron to put up the pictures, I also want to announce that today is Mr. Fagon's daughter's birthday. He has been a wonderful father to his children. I want to say happy birthday. I'm looking for the names in my Bisia Fagon and Zina Fagon. They have the same birthday. I think they are 5 years apart. I want to just tell you happy birthday. We're thankful for you.
That Fagon most frustrated day today. They took everything from him.
Yeah.
Mo, I was hearing Fagon on the phone. They took everything down to the last dime. That Fagon most frustrated day. He happy. His daughter celebrating the birthday. Shout out to them. But my man, they made him broke today. He's a good father.
So
we wish him well.
Happy birthday, Bisia Fagon and Zina Fagon. I saw your pictures on Facebook. There you go. Very pretty girls, women. Reminds me that you have Arkansas blood running through you, or do your power. I don't want me to say that, but I'm telling you now. And happy birthday to you. So you guys can extend happy birthday as we wait for Mr. S. Waka Peters' picture to come up.
Yes. Happy birthday to Fagon guys. Seriously, they make him broke again today, but he's strong. He got to take them out again to go to eat. Yeah, it's been rough on Fagon, but again, he's so happy to celebrate a wonderful birthday for his two kids, and we say God bless them. God bless them. While we wait for Wiyaka Peter or Uncle Peter photos, we want to say this two things. Lami, I really want you to let's close on this one, my brother Councilor. Because you're the policy guy on the show. We're about to go. Lami, look at the yes vote. Look at it. Some of the yes vote. 16 of them say they must pass this 65 million. Hey, Councilor Lamy, I want you to talk to us on this one. These are the picture. We got Senator Marsha Dennis, Riverside. We have Senator Daniel Neten, the chairman of CPP, and the opposition man said Joe, we are going to have 64 million. We have Senator Wellington Javon Smith. I'm going to call him from Grand Cape. I got to call Wellington Javon Smith. We have Senator Francis. Sorry. River says, you're right. River says. We have Senator Francis Pay from River says. We have the Magibi Senator James Tanane, Senator Cumming. We said, Mo, what happened with Mr. Senator We said? I can understand Senator Vanish Shema, but coming to We said, man, look at Morris Latuma.
Vanish Shema, why do you understand that?
I mean, because Vanish Shema will do what Vanish Shema want to do. Vanish Shema, he's not a UP.
Has long been supporting the CDC since.
Yeah, you know, and that's to me, that's a good
party before too, right?
Yeah, he was a Unity Party man under Madam
Not
Sally.
only that he was Unity Party, but he was chairman of the Unity Party when he got elected.
Yeah. Let's continue reading the name. Senator Sir Joseph from Musarado County. Senator Henrik. Oh, yeah. Sedition is a sedition. Why you ask that? But I'm surprised about Henrik Tokwa, though. Mo Ali. I thought you guys have this guy in your camp. What's going on with it, Pape?
Two persons. Let me come here because I feel extremely hurt. I'm surprised at two persons. Senator Henrik Tokwa and Senator Komine Wise. I'm surprised and I'm disappointed, to say the least. They are UP partisans, and the Unity Party was clear. The standard bearer was clear. Even if there are 2 senators or 3 senators we have, this country, when the CDC inherited the country, the debt portfolio was around 800 million. We now were above 2 billion. You cannot be talking about elections.
And on a lame dog session, you're right. More. This guy's not going.
You have another government coming in, and you want that government to inherit a debt burden that will impede progress, that will impede development. And so I am appealing with you, senators, please do not pass this one, so that the new government, whoever will become president, will have some free hand to maneuver. These people are taking $1.3 billion in loan. We've not seen what they've done with it. And they all said that they agreed. If a Senator Topa said, oh, Mr. Standard Bearer, thank you for calling this meeting, because if I had not come here, I would have just flow with it. In fact, I am the chair of that loan committee and blah, blah,
and he
blah.
was in that meeting more. Ali, we'll have this conversation tomorrow because, again, they are CEO is telling us that we have to go. But again, yes, the list, folks. Yes, the list. You got to understand those that say yes, those that say no. It's right here. Take a picture of it. We can read it to you. All the senators that say yes, we will call their names. You saw the picture. And those senators that said no, I'm interested. They said no. They said no. They said, you know what? We ain't going to go for that stuff. Senator Darius DeLong. Senator Darius DeLong said no. We are not going to go for it. Yombli Kanga Lawrence. Rescue Mother said no. Jeremiah Kwan Kun said no. James Benny said no. Senator Botokana, I'm surprised. He said no. Senator Botokana said no. Senator Prince Yeru Johnson is a no. Senator Prince Moyi is a no. Senator Jonathan Borcha Sebe is a no. Now, Mo, I will say this to the Liberian people tonight, and this will be my closing. To tell you the truth, you have only 8 opposition senators. The rest are only by name and color. To say the truth, you have only 8 opposition senators. All of the 30, you got 22 in position. Undercover sedition, real sedition, you got 22 of them. But right now, you have only 8. By principle, by attitude, by performance, we will call them, I don't want to call it a gang of 8, but you have 8 opposition senators that will stand up to the government and tell the government, say, you know what, you are messing up, we cannot do X, Y, and Z. And by that, I will say this. Say what you want to say about Yombli Kanga Lawrence. I understand. but she fighting. If she can get but one more, every day she cry for one. Every day she said, let me just get only one more added. We 8. We can get to 9. We can get to 10. We can get to the number. Because listen, Darius DeLong, Yomri Kanga Lawrence, James Benning, Boto Cannon, Prince Johnson, Jeremiah Kuhn, Prince Moi, Jonathan Borcha. That's it. They don't keep on the show. He said that Nathan will vote for us 100%. That's a lie. Nathan has cast his slot because Nathan know that he losing Buffalo. The CPP chairman.
You know your family?
CPP chairman. That's my family.
Nathan?
CPP, no. Well, I'm from Lexington, a man from Buffalo. CPP chairman. Okay, now you said it correct. Don't push me. Don't stop me, Dr. Richardson, because I said CPP chairman. CPP chairman know that he losing Buffalo, so he must take his last cut. To tell you the truth, I'm surprised. Henry Tokpa, as you said, people are celebrating Henry Tokpa. But there you go. He said, no, he got to feed the lion. He got to give it to the greedy hunter. Folks, I know we all have time, but join us again. All right. From my end, I appreciate every one of you. I said, thank you for following sport. And I said, thanks to Mr. Robert Morris. Seriously speaking, the city was hard for him, but he made it true. And we hope to have him back again. I wish him well, and I wish his people well. Before I end, I will put my uncle picture up. This is S. Weka Peter. The dollar sent us these photos. Trust me, a very great man. He served his nation well. A strong Methodist, and Councilor Towa Yenswa will know what I'm talking about. These are the old men that are holding on to that Methodist church. 85 years old, and we wish him well. We pray to God that he continue. Happy birthday to S. Weka Peter. We wish him well. Guys, I'm done. Thank you very much.
So we're gonna move over to Councilor Lamin Packard to make his closing comments, and then I'll be the last.
So I wasn't surprised at that vote today. If you recall when Senator Dillon was here and he was talking about their coalition of senators, I asked him whether he had a vote, and he started counting people. He counted, I think, up to 15 people that day.
Correct.
And just as Stenton said, they actually have only maybe 8 or probably less. Maybe they got, I think Dillon himself said I think he said 4. I think that day he said he had real 4. The other people, at one time he termed some of the other people as salt to pour or pour to salt, one of those two things. Say they were, I think, pores or sauce. No, so all those things they were talking about blacking things, the reality is that when push comes to shove, certain interests will play. And even some of them today in the chat room, I think it was Mola responded. Some of their own senators who right now they're up in arms, they say they're supporting them. That's a reality. There's a leadership problem in this country, and you're not going to solve it by sugarcoating things like Mr. Morris did. He spoke really well initially, but then he started hiding from serious things that were being asked him. You cannot change the country if you do that. The country needs to be changed. There are hundreds of thousands of hungry people out there every day. If we can make sure that we bring sanity to their lives, bring sanity to governance here, nothing's going to change. We need somebody to come to office in this country who will make on-hand dealings in government unattractive, very unattractive. I was looking at the social contract that Mr. Boyka Kamara was talking about the other day, and I think that's a very good document. Everybody who he shared it with, I think they should take a look, they should strengthen provisions, and we should encourage each and every one of the people running for public office in the country to sign onto that document. Whether the person running for president, whether the person running for legislative positions, there are 2 separate documents. We should put in very strong provisions and ask people to sign onto it, because we have something to hold them to if they refuse to do it.
Yes.
Like for example, Councilor Gonglo has talked about the quarterly checks on the lifestyle checks, the quarterly lifestyle checks, publishing assets on the internet and in the newspapers before you go to the Senate even. You publish your asset on the internet in a newspaper, and there will be quarterly lifestyle checks that will be published also publicly. If we do that, who will be brave to go steal?
Okay.
When you check your lifestyle, you will not be brave to do it. You have to be really brave and foolhardy to do it. So we need to change our governance. Councillor Gonglo presents the best opportunity for us to change this country.
Thank you, Mr.
Let's vote for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're gonna go to Mwali because I don't want to have the two Congo people coming to us. So let's break it up a little bit. Mwali, please you're closing.
Let me say, the reason I enjoy the show mostly is because we have opposing views and we fire at each other. I believe if we are going to move the country forward, we must always have these opposing views as opposed to getting into fights. And Mr. Rabel did his best. Oh, Mr. Morris did his best. And I thought they like Stanton said, the spoon talk tonight, we gave him a different thought. He will go back and some of the hard questions that were posed to him, he will sit and research and he's in a learning curve. I believe he had learned a lot from here. And coming to those senators, I think we should have a time to discuss it because I am utterly disappointed. I will not lie. I will not hide my feelings. Utterly disappointed. And I'm not disappointed in all the other people for voting, but I am disappointed in my two UP senators who voted for it. I don't care how much that money is and what it's coming to do. I believe that the new government should have a free hand on the basis of the policies they will carve to be able to look for money to implement those policies that will enhance their governance, that will make them and help them to achieve the policy prescription they've set. If you give the next government a system that will tie them, we will not have a forward march, we will not have development, and Liberians will continue to complain. Anybody inheriting the next government in January with a debt burden of more than $2 billion is going to be difficult. And those are some of the reasons why the senators were met. They were spoken to. And in that meeting, I remember there were around 12, 13 senators there. And it's disappointing. At the moment they left from there, they say, okay, no, that was nonsense. I mean, it could be anybody. Let's forget about the fact that, yeah, he's Joseph Boakai, he talked to them, he appealed to them, he made them to see reason. It could be any of the political leaders. They called them, they should listen. Because these people are going to inherit a country. And we are complaining that this government is not doing well. So if you pretend like you support a particular candidate who should be president and you want to give that particular person a country that they will find it difficult to govern, to move forward, then you are truly not supporting the person. You are better be with the regime and they'll just be there and they'll just continue to chakra things. In my opinion, that's what they're doing. And then tomorrow we will still lash at the next president. It could be Cummings, it could be Gonglo, it could be Joseph Boakai. And we don't look at what the kind of burden these people are transferring to them, and particularly the lawmakers. Thank you.
Yes. Out to my closing, I just want to thank you, panelists, for coming here every day. Your presence here is a testimony of the love that you have for Liberia. You know, I can hear the disappointment in Mwali's voice as he spoke about how those who voted yes, those senators, and we won't be talking about them because I think it's important for Liberians to know who is not acting in the best interest. Putting on a burden of loan money onto the next generation is just unhealthy. So I also want to just make a quick announcement about the CPP program that we.
I'll tell you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for. Yeah. I'm gonna stop. Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, Yes, since yesterday, I've been listening to Eugene Fagon, Mo Ali, Stanton. They've been talking about why our vice presidential candidate changed his name. When did he change his name?
No point of correction. I've never spoken about your vice presidential candidate name. It was Eugene.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the clarification. I'm going to read something from his own mouth so that it will lay this to rest once and for all. In 2018, October 17, 2018, the Nelson Institute wrote a nice piece of article, and in that article, they asked Mr. Yabalo Ure, they asked him to say something about his name. So he said this, quote, I just had started, but I was promoted because I have very good grades, so my teachers thought it was okay to accelerate my learning, said Ure, who was thrilled to finally have the opportunity to attend the school. About 6 months into my education in Guinea, my family decided to move back to Liberia. Things were very broken down from the war, so my father and I lived in the bush. It was then that I told him I wanted to go back to school. So he agreed and sent me to live with my uncle, Joseph Ure, those whose last name I am using today, in another village. Before this time, I was using Emmanuel Yabalo, my father's last name. So this is why he himself says, so we want to lay that to rest. So it happened. Tipote changed his name. So many people have changed their name in life. At some point in time, I almost changed my name too. So people change their name, but this is not even important. The bread and butter issue we're talking about is the most important thing. What Councilor Gonglo and so Yabalo Ure are going to bring on the table. And I think the people are beginning to be afraid because they see substance in the door. They see substance in the door. I want to say thanks for having us here. And Stanton said he's coming back for us to talk about the law issue. I'll be ready because it looked like they didn't read the law well. The law says the Election Commission will suspend. It is the prerogative of the Election Commission to issue that suspension. Once the suspension was not issued, it means the Election Commission either decided not to take action or they decided not to go forward with anything. So Gonglo is not going to go everywhere and be asking what he should do in this kind of situation. But when we come back to discuss it next time, we'll talk about it. But thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jerry, for calling my attention to having you give your closing thoughts. As I was saying, we are going to revisit the issue with those senators voting for that $65 million loan. It will be discussing that tomorrow. We'll tell you exactly who voted for it and who voted against it, and how their vote is not in the best interest of Liberians. I just want to make an announcement before I just want to talk about this weekend in Philadelphia area. We are going to have the Collaboration Political Parties Convention. The CPP convention will be held in Philadelphia. We are expecting, actually, I would say that Mr. Alexander Cummings will be there. Councilor Charlene Brunsky will be there. We will appreciate you coming out to ask your questions and to support the fundraising. The convention is going to be held from June 30th to July 2nd. These are some of the events that are going to be held on June 30th. There will be a meet and greet at 19 Adams Drive, Burlington, New Jersey. On July 1st, there will be visitation at the LCACNJMA Trenton, New Jersey, Bucks County, and Philadelphia. So Mr. Cummings will be going to these different areas to visit Liberians. July 1st, on July 1st at 7 p.m. This is where we're going to have the fundraising ball. We are asking to please come out and support us. It's going to be at the African Cultural Center, 2106 South 63rd Street, Philadelphia, PA. There will be charges at the door for couples, for individuals, and for VIPs. And then on Sunday, we are going to be worshiping at the African United Methodist Church on Broad Street, Trenton. So we look forward to seeing you, and we look forward to your support of this event. All of those who want a better Liberia, it's important for you to put your mouth where your money where your mouth is by supporting this program. I want to move on then to say to presidential aspirant, Mr. Robert Morris. Thank you so much for coming. We look forward to you coming here again. I appreciate your ambition, and I hope that more young people in Liberia will emulate your bravery and your spirit of wanting a better Liberia. So the questions I will ask to you, I'm sure you're going to marinate on those questions and strengthen yourself. That's why people come to Spoon. That's one of the gifts we can give you here. Lastly, Liberians, I'm speaking about Mr. Alexander Cummings today. I want you to know that he is the best candidate, no matter what you hear on Spoon or what you hear from Gibson Jerry or Mo Ali. Mr. Cummings has what it takes to move Liberia forward. He wants to stop wasteful spending. You were here on this particular show when we talked about wasteful spending in Buchanan at the port there, when we had Charles MacArthur talk about the fiasco that occurred with money there. He wants to begin with our ports. Stop the wasteful spending. There's too many things happening at our ports. You saw aspirant Robert Morris talk about what happened with the money, even though he said he was not involved, but we saw that money was wasted at our port, the gateways to our country. So Mr. Cummings has the opportunity, he has the skills, he has the experience to be able to stop wasteful spending and redirect that money to more important things in our country, like agriculture. Find a way where we can feed ourselves, that we won't be able to spend $11 million on rice. We wouldn't experience the rice shortage. He wants to improve our economy by focusing on things like ecotourism, low-hanging fruits that we can do these days. Improving our infrastructure. Light is such a simple thing, for many people take for granted these days, but we in Liberia, it's a commodity. But Mr. Cummings has to know it all. He knows how to bring change to Liberia so that we'll be able to have light. Mr. Cummings wants a discerning Liberia for all. He's an equal opportunity person. There will be no discrimination, no tribalism, no familyship. It's if you have the ability and you qualify, you will do the job according to the law and according to the job requirement. That's what he expects of Liberians. He expects leadership. He's been into, I always talk about the gift of being in two types of leadership. Leadership in Liberia, experience, and leadership in the United States. When you add those things together, it makes you a better person, because you don't sit down and wait for somebody to say jump and you say how high. In a different system, it is expected of you to contribute to the system. Okay? It is expected, it goes beyond your job requirement to say, oh, this is my job requirement, I only here. There's a thin line that says, there's more that is required of you. So Mr. Cummings is not going to say the Constitution says I should be president, I should make budget, and I will just stop there, or I should just, recommend laws to the legislature, and I'll just stop there. No, he's going to be talking to Liberian people. He's going to be going out there and asking you, what are your needs? What are your wants? And then put that in a way where he can lead the country by making deliverables to you. Lastly, I'm asking you to vote for Mr. Cummings and vote for issues this time around, because I hear people come here, we'll vote because somebody been in government for a long time, they've been 12 years, 40 years, or whatever. No, vote on the issues. Who can curb corruption? Who can improve our economy? Who can improve our healthcare? Don't vote on likability. Oh, the person like somebody, we like this person. Don't vote for this person got a country at heart, because we see where getting a country at heart have put us. Okay, those things, crowd, likability, somebody being in the government for a long time and have experience, they don't address our bread and butter issues in the country. They don't address how our exchange rate continue to rise. They don't address how food will get on the table. They don't address school fees. So again, vote for issues. Ask yourself, who can do the work of the country. So I want to thank you very much. Vote October 10th for issues in the country. Thank you, Moali. Thank you, Gibson, for allowing me to speak my mind here today. I'm sure you guys will come back at me tomorrow, but it's okay. It's the end of the program. Bye. Bye. We'll go to
coming to send you some money. This was a very good presentation.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Well, folks, we'd like to appreciate you guys a lot for being a part of the edition of the program Spoon Talk. We've been live on Spoon 107.5 FM and Spoon TV Live, Fabric 101.1 FM, and Fabric TV Live, Super FM 95.5, Super TV Live as well. So, folks, yeah, man, this is the Spoon Network right here with dishing out like Bureau Best. We got about 27 minutes past 11 o'clock. This is how we like to wrap it up right here. The Spoon Talk gonna be back here for you guys tomorrow, same time right here. Let's say 8 o'clock Liberian time. Until then, my name is Prince Hammond, alias DJ Mash Your Fingers. Have yourself a wonderful, God bless night from my end. Bye-bye.
Spoon Entertainment. Go to the Spoon.